feels so abstract. Yeah, it's complicated. What you say, the way you act, well, it makes me so confused. I don't know what to do anymore. Can't you just make up your mind? My heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. How it hurts to see you smile, like a dagger hit me. She just seems so juvenile. I just want it to be me. I wanna set your world on fire. Oh, you're so sure I'll stick around. Oh, my heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. Oh, even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be.
I see something, it's coming up on the horizon. Oh, let me clear my head and get rid of the distractions. Oh, I was done, I was down when I saw you in the clouds. Out of phase, filled with doubt. I was drifting in and out, levitate, fade away. I had left full time and space, but you just caught my eye. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Please won't you come over? Let me get to know ya. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Delve into emotion, leave us in this moment. Let your mind be free. Stop holding back, 'cause you can fight it. Oh, I don't know your name, but something in me has ignited. Oh, I was done, I was down when I saw you in the clouds. Out of phase, filled with doubt. I was drifting in and out, levitate, fade away. I had left full time and space, but you just caught my eye. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Please won't you come over? Let me get to know ya. Hey, nah, 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 nah. Delve into emotion, leave us in this moment. Look at me like I'm crazy. When I shut my feelings down, you look at me like I'm different. Still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments. Doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors. They kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. We never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. 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 We're pouring cup after cup after cup. Yeah, it's just the way we do it. Anything just to block out the real life, real life. Yeah, we're loving the way they think we're so messed up. Even if what we're doing is bad, there's so many emotions. Sharing stories that we never had, yeah, none is real. I think we're searching for reasons not to be like them. We fly around like paper planes. They never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. There's something different about us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the RiftMSTRS Invitational, where we're going to be featuring some of the best 4 teams here in North America for the Wild Rift. As you might have seen them on the Summer Series recently, brought to you by Riot Wisdom and Nerd Street. But this is going to be a fun invitational that is hosted by the homies over at RiftMSTRS, and I want to give a quick shout out to Tasty Bacon and the rest of Tribe Gaming for basically helping us put together this event. My name is Marco Rafa Alexander Artemida, joined here. This is the first time I'm working with you, Mr. Moose. Now, I never got a chance to know your name. Just to kind of establish a little personal base. Are you cool with just Moose, or do you want me to address you by?
You know what, Rafa? It's a coworker of mine many moons ago. When I was young, told me one of these days, came up to me and said "Toe Moose," right? And the toe didn't really stick. Toe jam doesn't really make any sense. But the Moose really stuck. And so kept with the Moose. I've worked a couple of jobs since then, and everyone calls me Moose. But my real name is Thomas. My name is on the IGN, as you can see right now, is Mr. Moose. I will take either from you, Rafa, but I'm going to be calling you Rafa for sure.
Sure. Rafa and Moose. Roos.
Yeah.
Mafia.
Ooh. There you go.
Mafia
I like
casting.
that. I like that.
RiftMSTRS
That's what's
Invitational,
up.
ladies and gentlemen. Well, we got to get right into the thick of things and really tell the audience what's going down here in RiftMSTRS Invitational. It is going to be a 4-team invitational featuring Immortals, Enemy, Tribe, and Cloud9. Single elimination, best of 3 for each match, and it's going to be a $1,000 prize pool. Winner takes all.
Yeah, so it's going to be very important for all of these players and all of these teams right out of the gate to be able to perform their best, show us what they've got, and really give us a good opportunity, because there is no second place. There is a second place, but the second place doesn't get any money. They walk away empty-handed, the lump of coal in their stocking. Well, only the first place team gets all the goodies, all the candy, all the money here. It's a $1,000 winner-take-all prize pool, single elimination, best of 3 series going in between all 3 rounds of today's bracket. So definitely going to be a fun matchup for sure. Definitely going to be a fun day. And like you said, 4 of the best teams in the Wild Rift NA scene coming in. Should be a ton of fun. I mean, obviously, we've got Tribe Gaming, one of the best, if not the best, in terms of their ability. They've consistently been able to take wins in a majority of the tournaments that they play. Enemy, kind of like the bridesmaids of the Wild Rift scene, it seems like, but not the bride, taking a couple of second place finishes, especially in the Summoner Series as well. And then also Immortals and Cloud9, which, they are looking to be able to prove that, between Major 3 in the Summoner Series and now that they have made those adjustments, that they have made those improvements, and they have a contender spot to be able to potentially take wins off of, Enemy and Tribe, which in the past hasn't necessarily been the case.
Right. I mean, Tribe has definitely stood head and shoulders above all. Enemy has clashed with them and has kind of stood up to their level if you go back to the first Major when they went the full distance 5-game series. But then Major 3, Tribe kind of just kicked their ass and, just slapped them around 3-0. Now Major 3 comes around. Obviously, Tribe and Enemy are not there because they already qualified for the regional championships. But Immortals emerged as the best team from that. Cloud9 actually went from the expected 4th seed, exited out of, I believe, a 3rd place loss after Sentinels overtook them. Obviously, we're not seeing Sentinels today. We're going to be seeing a Cloud9 alongside Immortals. But we should look at the bracket because we need to give you a little taste of the matches that are going to be played today. Our first match is going to be Cloud9 taking on Tribe Gaming, followed up by Enemy taking on Immortals, and then the winner of both of those respective matches will face each other off for that $1,000 prize pool take all. With the Cloud9 and Tribe Gaming match, Moose, we're going to go straight to the point. Tribe Gaming is kind of our expected tournament favorite here. Maybe Enemy might show us a thing or two, or Immortals might rise to the occasion, but we're really looking at Tribe to not only take the whole tournament, so it's no surprise that we are expecting them to take on Cloud9 pretty dominantly in this first match.
I mean, take on and, really just show them, everything. The kitchen sink, the backyard. Give them a whole world tour of what showcase Tribe Gaming can bring into this tournament and into the Wild Rift scene. At the end of the day, though, yes, Tribe Gaming definitely going to be, my favorites to win. I love seeing Tribe Gaming play. I'm definitely a Max Green fanboy playing in the support role. Definitely, really, really strong. One of my favorites in the Wild Rift scene right now. But at the other side of that coin, you cannot count anyone out until the games have actually been played. You can't say, hey, Tribe is going to go 2-0 in this best of 3 series when, we've got some newer members on the roster, or at least some good members on the Cloud9 roster that have been able to make some waves recently in previous showings. For example, Griff. Rafa, you were talking about it. Griff in the games in Major 3, was definitely putting in some work in the games that they played.
Griff being the newcomer definitely surprised a lot of my colleagues over at during the 3rd Major in Giant Slayer, and because we had no idea that Jackie had put in a lot of time in the support role as well. I think the fact that this bottom lane or Dragon Duo lane went from Jackie and Charm to now Griff and Jackie, and it still performed decently well, even in their losses, shows promise for potentially a new focus for Cloud9, but they do need to show that they're more willing to play around the bottom side of the map, because a majority of Cloud9's identity has been focused around Tarzan, playing through the jungle, which is why when Charm was first on this roster, they formed so many strategies about giving Tarzan as much resources as possible. But during the third major, there were signs of sometimes it was playing around Tarzan, and sometimes it was playing actually through the bottom lane. It didn't come together soon enough for them to come back in the tournament, but Cloud9, they've already started the draft here, Moose, and already we have some spicy picks on the board.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I want to point out right off the bat is Cloud9 banning out 3 Dragon Lane champions in the Ashe and the Varus and in the Senna. Ziggs coming in as their 3rd pick here in this one, along with the Olaf, the Orianna, and now the Fiora coming in. And then meanwhile for Tribe Gaming, I mean, a little bit more of a classic lineup for them. Camille, Darius, and Kaisa coming through. So it just seems like, you know, the bans coming out of Cloud9 to go up against Old School. Kaisa's still on the table. Going to be a really fun pick and a good pick for Tribe Gaming to pick up.
Yeah, Cloud9 were trying to take the Old School off of a lot of these utility picks. Ashe and Varus have really risen in priority. I mean, Dienzio for Enemy kind of trademarked the Varus as probably the best marksman player, a champion that you can lock into the Dragon Lane role. But then Ashe just started getting a lot more playtime during the third major, the Crystal Enchanted Arrow and the utility that you get, combined with that you can get so much damage from the other roles on the top half of the map that you don't necessarily need that much from the Dragon Lane. But now we're playing Kaisa, so you gotta be willing to dive forward, and Tribe Gaming have done exactly that with the rest of the champions that they've drafted alongside it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, not only that, you've got the Ahri as well, being able to keep up with whatever sort of disengage Cloud9 maybe want to go for. What little disengage they have, looking more towards, you know, trying to move in and trying to be able to really just obliterate these members of Tribe Gaming in this potential wombo combo. You got the Orianna with the Shockwave into the Mega Inferno Bomb, coming in from the Ziggs into the Solar Flare, potentially being able to get a lot of damage very quickly. And then if Fiora's target does end up dying out of that Grand Challenge, that healing coming in to help the Olaf, help the Leona stay in the fight longer, could definitely pull it off. The only thing that I'm worried about, Rafa, for Cloud9's lineup is, you know, we do have the Ziggs, and Ziggs obviously a good choice, but it's going to be really focused on that AD coming in from the Fiora to be able to give them that sustained damage throughout those fights. If you lose out in the early game for the Ziggs or for the Orianna, it could take a little bit longer for them to get online, and at that point, Tribe Gaming has your inhibitor turrets, and it's all over.
The split pushing potential is always something that has to be in the back of the mind, which is why Cloud9 have this Fiora to try and answer. I'm not going to lie, I don't think I've seen Zello that many times on this particular pick. I've known Zello mostly for the Gragas, the Malphite, even the Darius in most cases. And Zello's one of the few Baron laners that has actually resorted to the Garen when both of the primary initiators in Gragas and Malphite have gone to the wayside. So this is a completely... it's not necessarily a whole new look for Zello because he has put in some time on the Camille before, but Camille gives you a little bit more flexibility whether you want to play for the team fights or play for the split push. Fiora, you're kind of all in on the split push. You're team fighting, unless you're just stupidly ahead, you don't provide that much to a team fight.
Right. And so it's going to be, you know, what can Cloud9 bring to that table? Can they be able to withstand some of that pressure? I mean, Darius as well. I mean, a really strong pick in the top lane. One of Chuck's really good champions that he's been able to play there in the top lane. Really strong for him. I mean, definitely a bully, I would say, in that top lane. And then going to be paired with the Camille. Should be a really good matchup for them. Really, at the end of the day, though, trying to be able to see if they're going to be able to make this work. I mean, game number one, very important for both of these players or for both these teams in being able to get the advantage moving into game number two. But also, this is the first time, Rafa, that we've been able to see Tribe in a while. So this is a nice opportunity to see what they have been able to train upon in the last about month or so, seeing what they're going to be able to do here in this one. I'm really excited to see what Max Green is going to be able to play on the Nami. I think the Nami Kaisa bottom lane, or Dragon lane, pardon me, is going to be really interesting to see. And then, of course, Ari, always really fun to start things off. And we are ready to get into game number 1 between Tribe Gaming and Cloud9. It's going to be a fun matchup for sure, and we are just now getting started.
Tribe Gaming, the way they started out is having Chuck arrive in the mid lane to help starting get the first wave push. They annihilated the wave, but Cloud9, they've adapted to this because Tarzan has actually started on the bottom side of the map. Most of the time, we've seen junglers really favor starting on that red side because you get the most amount of gold and experience through the AoE camps that the Raptors and the Croaks provide. Also, on top of the red buff just being such a strong enhancement to have early on for these strong junglers that just want to get in your face, like the Olaf and the Camille, even when you think of things like Jarvan, and Lee Sin, and Xin Zhao that we have just seen popularize and terrorize the Wild Rift for a majority of the meta here in North America. But because Tarzan has started on the bottom side, he's able to get a full clear. We're not going to see early level 3 dives, but I'm curious to see where the action is going to lie, and I think it's going to be towards this Baron lane.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to see a little bit of a roam coming in from Tribe. Both we get to see the Camille and we get to see the Ari coming forward over to the top lane, maybe trying to go in for that potential dive on to Zello, and they are going for it. We can see them really, really low. Zello is now back down to about a quarter HP, now half, and now gone. It's first blood for Tribe Gaming. And now looking over to the bottom lane, Max Green trying to be able to survive here. Nice bubble to be able to get away from that one as Tarzan tries to go for the axe, but coming up short.
So that was actually first blood for Cloud9 because T-Tigers dove head first, but could not finish off Zello. Zello was able to lure him past the second tier turret, and the greed was insanely too much. They wanted that dive so to a point where it probably was ill-advised. Now, this isn't game over. This isn't like, oh god, what are Tribe doing? You know, it's been a while. They haven't been on stage since August, so T-Tiger's probably shaking off the rust of his fingers. But Cloud9, definitely happy to see such a powerful opponent make a mistake in the early parts of the game. This might give Cloud9 a surge of confidence in this early window.
Yeah, always really good to get those first bloods, especially onto a Fiora. That's going to love to get that extra bit of early damage. Tigers now looking to go for the Hextech Ultimatum on to the Orianna. And nice flash from Meals to be able to get away from the extended damage that Starting was trying to go for. And then the Shockwave to be able to get the disengage. So again, Tribe Gaming trying to go for something, but not being able to get what they want out of that fight.
So far, Cloud9 are doing a great job of reacting to Tribe Gaming's early aggressive plays. The execution is not really locking down these kills that Tribe Gaming are looking for, and it's giving Cloud9 an opportunity to get some aggressive defensive vision back in their favor, protecting this mid lane, as they've already shown their hand that they are trying to play towards the top half of the map. They might look for something here. The Solar Flask comes out, but Starting is able to get away.
Yeah, very good play. Nice flash coming in from Starting. He does get slowed, but not stunned. And that's what you want there is, I mean, you do lose that summoner spell, but at the end of the day, you do survive. Also point out, you know, Griff coming in over the top lane to face off against Chuck. Definitely going to be a little bit of an interesting play there. And it does look like Chuck is continuing to go back over to the top lane. So we've got Zello being able to stay in that bottom lane, going to be potentially scared for the 2v1. It doesn't look like they are getting the 2v1 with Old School just being by himself. Just got to be careful not to potentially lose his life to some scary shenanigans. But it looks like the action is going to be towards the Rift Herald pit here, Rafa, as we get a lot of damage coming in. A flash going to come through, and now Chuck is in trouble. Going to go down as we get Leona taking that kill. It's going to be Cloud9 again coming out on top.
So this was a really cool play from Cloud9 that they set up. They rotated Griff and Jackie over to the Baron lane because they were setting up for this Rift Herald take. And when you have a Ziggs on your side of the field, you can take turrets early on super easily. However, look at the response. Despite losing out on a member, Tribe Gaming know that Cloud9 had already exhausted a lot of their resources, a lot of their ultimates to try and get that kill. They didn't get the Rift Herald, and no one was able to answer the mid lane push. So Tribe Gaming, despite not even getting Rift Herald and losing that fight in the jungle, they still get first brick, which gives them that early acceleration to gold. We might see another fight here.
Uh-oh, Sheldon is the target. Here's we get a nice solar flare, going to land onto Max Green and on Old School, but it will be the Camille being able to land onto the Rift Herald, getting that big buff. Griff now in trouble with that Hextech ultimatum, going to lose his life, but it will end up being the Camille going down, starting now the next target. Nice charm coming in from the Ahri, being able to survive that one. It's a triple kill for Old School. Ahri ends up going down, starting, dies, but at the end of the day, it is a rampage and a quadra kill for Tribe.
Old School is so huge now. That fight is signature classic textbook Tribe Gaming. Yes, they give over the first two fights. Yes, they kind of botch the dive over onto the top side of the play. But when they finally look for the macro call to go for the mid turret, bait Cloud9 into the Rift Herald, and they fight on their terms. They start the fight off, and they're able to communicate around it so beautifully. And look at how much damage they do towards the map. Now, they're trying to contest this dragon, but they don't have all members here, so this one will go over to Cloud9 this time around.
Yep, so Cloud9 finally getting an objective. I mean, they have been starving for those here in the early game. I mean, this is a bloodbath. I mean, if you're a vampire, this is a feast. But at the end of the day, there's been so much action in the first 6.5 minutes for Cloud9 to be able to get that dragon. Definitely going to be a nice little bit of a boost to their stats. We got to be worried about that Rift Herald. Rafa, I mean, it's going to be rough if they're able to get into those inhibitor turrets. Did they drop it? I don't think they've dropped it yet.
We'll probably have to get a chance to look at the scoreboard again to see if they've used it. But my guess is that they actually dropped it towards the Baron side of the map as... that is a dead Chuck. T-Tigers, can you get out, my friend? One more auto attack from Zella is going to do the trick. That's an easy double for Cloud9.
Ooh. Nicely done, nicely done. And yeah, that top tower is taken, Rafa. Good eye there, good eye. You know, I got 4 eyes and I still miss things from time to time. So appreciate you looking out. Trying to be able to get away should be just fine. But that's just one of the great things about Tribe. Yes, they do lose out on that kill. Cloud9 in the advantage kill-wise, but their macro play and their control of the Rift is just so strong. I mean, they've been playing for a long time as a 5-man team. They know their strengths, they know where they need to get improvements upon, and they know where they need to be in order to get the most value out of every single wave, every single objective. They're still in the lead by about 1,500 gold, and they're looking to be able to continue to keep up the momentum here. At the 8-minute mark, you know, we're going to start seeing those big major items coming through for a lot of members as we look to see whether or not they do decide to go for a mid lane push here. We do have 4 members of Tribe in the top side of the Rift. Maybe looking to sneak someone out.
And Chuck under pressure here from Griff and Jackie, but all they want is the tower. They're not really looking to try and run down this Darius. We don't have the scoreboard up, so we can't check to see what the items are currently, but I imagine that 8.5 minutes in the game... Oh, ask and you shall receive. Thank you, Observer Gods. As Infinity Edge and Blade of the Ruin King for Old School makes him a very formidable opponent and a raid boss for Cloud9 to deal with. And when you look at the amount of lockdown that Cloud9 have, in reality, it's not a lot, because it's reliant on Jackie using all of their abilities to get onto Old School, but you need to be able to close the distance from a flank or from Fog of War, maybe hoping for a pick. And then outside of that, you're hoping that the shockwave is going to fall off from Meals. Otherwise, outside of that, there's nothing that is stopping Old School from just being able to Killer Instinct or flash away.
Yeah, and so, I mean, taking a look at the advantages, looking at what we've got here for Tribe, they do end up now summoning the Rift Herald, so it is going up into the bottom lane. They take that top tier 1 tower all on their own. And now we get to see maybe going up against Zello, maybe. This could be an interesting little play. Nope, just going to disengage that one. as we get to see the little back and forth here. Now looking at the Hextech Ultimatum, Tarzan is going to be stuck in that one. No Ragnarok available, as we do get a nice Zenith Blade into the Solar Flare. A lot of damage onto the Camille. It is going to be T-Tigers going down. Chuck now going to be the next target, but he has all the healing, and the Noxian Guillotine gonna slice and dice his way into a double kill. Old School with the Killer Instinct on to Jackie, and now Griff, the next target.
Nice.
4 members going down again, and it's now a dominating Kaisa.
And they still have this Rift Herald for the push. Now, it doesn't look like they're going to feel confident to walk it all the way into the turret, but it's still going to get a charge off. If that were me, and you wanted a limit test, I would have stayed to pick up that other turret, but Tribe Gaming, I know that they want to get back onto the map ASAP because this dragon is alive and is a much more important objective than potentially losing tempo and giving up your opportunity to be in position for this dragon. Had they gone for the turret crash, they can always pick it up off of this next fight, as looks like we might already be in a fight, as Old School is going godlike, is just killing people right now. we don't get a chance to see as we finally get a chance to look at the map, and oh my goodness, it's a massacre here. Everyone's dead.
Everyone is dead. You're right, Rafa. Cloud9. Oh no. That's going to be a legendary Kaisa. Old School. I mean, that rampage, that quadra kill over at the Rift Herald earlier down the line, it's just put Old School on a different level. I mean, everyone else is elementary school, and he just landed on his PhD in this game. He's got 4 items almost completed at this point. Doesn't even need upgraded boots. 8-0-2. 13,000 gold. The richest man on Cloud9 is going to be a Zello on the Fiora at 8,700. I mean, that's almost a 5,000 gold advantage. It's almost about 2 items, if not a little bit more there. As we get to take a look at the next rampage that Tribe Gaming is trying to be able to go for. Maybe trying to land something onto Griff. Nope, just gonna, again, push them off because they are afraid of this Kaisa.
And Tribe Gaming are walking around with a 7,000 gold advantage on their side. Might be, well, it's between 6k and 7k at this point. So Tribe Gaming, Cloud9 are not at the point of no return, but when Tribe Gaming have this kind of a lead, it's usually not difficult for them to be able to close out the game from this point. Looking at Cloud9's possible win conditions, it's really just try and get a pick onto Old School. Try to catch him out now that he doesn't have Flash for the next 30 seconds, maybe 45. You have Jackie Flash, who can flash, go for the Shield of Daybreak stun. That's not it. That's not the play. And this is looking doomed here, Moose.
Yeah, Griff is gonna go down, and that's your big damage that Griff brings to the table, no longer available. Chuck is gonna back to be able to handle the bottom side push, or the dragon side push coming in from Zello. He might be able to get that tower as a consolation prize, but the Baron is now the play. Rafa, we do get the charm onto the Leona, already obliterated before you can even drop a single ability. Yep, good night there on the Leona. Baron is still being leashed a little bit. Nope, gonna end up disengaging from that one. They get what they want. They disengage, and they increase the gold lead to about 7,000, resetting once again.
Meanwhile, Chuck and Zello were having a tug-of-war in the bottom half of the quadrant in the jungle. Zello had to flash away, so he's not winning that 1v1 anytime soon. Meanwhile, Old School is winning a 1v1 of his own, takes out Tarzan, starting, gets out alive, and just like that, Tribe Gaming are pushing their advantage further and further. Just they don't start the Baron always with the intention of finishing it. They use it to pull Cloud9 towards, and if they feel like, you know what, we're not burning this Baron fast enough, let's go for a pick. We have the mobility, we have the ultimates to use to catch people out, but this time around, no Tarzan means that Tribe Gaming can secure this Baron super easily.
You know, nice attempt. Jackie trying to go for that solar flare. I mean, it landed. It just wasn't perfect. And the smite is going to come in from Tigers just in time. That is 3 minutes of Baron pressure. It's going to be available for Tribe as they look to, I think, pretty much complete game number 1 here within the next 3 minutes. I mean, yes, there maybe was a win condition at 6,000 gold, now at 10,000 gold. I feel like it's almost inevitable. It's just a matter of how Tribe Gaming decides they want to go for it. They can continue to stack up a dragon. They could go for a mid lane push. Does look like we are getting some damage in the top lane, though. And it is going to be T-Tigers going down. But that was a 3v1, leaving Meals and Griff all alone. Your carries are dead. Meals will survive that one, but Griff again is going to go down. The Shockwave's going to land on it too, but the Solar Flare is not going to be there. A beautiful tidal wave coming in from the Nami. Old School will die.
Okay.
Will end up going down, but the Noxian Guillotine going to take a lot of damage onto Meals, and Chuck will survive that one. Zello going to get charmed immediately, and there's nothing that he can do. Ends up going to Max Green on this Nami, who had an amazing counter initiation with that tidal wave.
You know, there was an angle where Zello could have cleaned up the fight. There was a lot of low HP members on the side of Tribe after Old School had finally been knocked down. The shutdown came through, but the beautiful bubble, Zello's not anticipating it, didn't have the riposte ready, could not counteract the play as, okay, Max Green does have the flash over the wall, and Mega Inferno Bomb came from downtown from Griff. That's going to be no flash for the Sushi Fish. The next objective is this Ocean Dragon, which Tribe Gaming can just lock down easily for themselves. And as you said, Moose, it is kind of inevitable at this point. Cloud9, like, the way that they would have to come back into this game is, once again, you are just trying to pile drive onto Old School and then play through your backline. Because Griff is Ziggs, you can always scale, but if he gets picked out like this, what are you going to do?
Oh, that's not where you want to be. If you are a one-man Ziggs all alone and Hextech Ultimatum just landing right there, it's just bad news bears. We get another fight coming in the top lane. Jackie, the target, gonna get pulled back in. Trying to go for the Zenith Blade into the flash. That looked pretty, but unfortunately, pretty doesn't cut it when the function of those nice metal legs from Camille land into a kill. It's going to be 2-3 down for Cloud9 as they look to take the last structures of this game away from Cloud9 here, Rafa. Zello just trying to do what he can in the bottom lane, finally gets that tier 2 tower.
And Tribe Gaming are not necessarily closing off the game rapidly. Okay, that's a sick pick. Shockwave doesn't even get a chance to come through and complete the animation, starting just finishing off Meals before he even gets a chance to get a counter-active play in. Tribe have already grouped on through the Baron lane. Chuck is pushing through the Dragon lane. They have waves pushing in through mid lane as well. Tribe Gaming are now just playing the pick game. Charm misses, but Griff still has to respect the amount of damage that's coming from Tribe.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And so another Baron is going to spawn. This is a pretty long game. You know, I thought that they were going to end it within that last Baron, but Cloud9 going to make their final stand. They know they have to do it at the Baron pit or around this top lane here. Rafa, as we get another nice bubble coming through from Max Green. No further initiation there as Tigers comes through. Going to get the tidal wave landing on a 3. A huge knockup as the Hextech Ultimatum lands on a Griff. Griff will end up eventually dying as Tigers will take that one, but at the other side of that fight, the rest of Tribe Gaming obliterates Cloud9. Meal's not even there. Tribe will take game 1.
Almost clinical by Tribe Gaming. Now, there were some fumbles here, and, you know, maybe we can attribute it to, you know, Tribe not being on stage since August. It's been a while, you know, they had to just kind of get back into the groove of things, warm up their hands and whatnot, warm up the fingers. But for Cloud9, there is definitely some things to take away from this first game. Yeah, if we had to look back at the draft and what the goal of this composition we wanted to do, we look back at Zello on the Fiora, and they wanted to split push. And Tribe Gaming identified that, knowing that, hey, if Zello gets off the ground, then we know that Chuck is trying to play for team fights, not necessarily be a split pusher. That's going to be a constant macro problem that we have to deal with on our side of the things, which is why they invested so many resources into trying to dive Zello early. It didn't necessarily work out, but thankfully for Tribe, Zello actually never got steamrolling ahead, and then Tribe Gaming took a successful mid-game fight around the Rift Herald, which allowed them to really steamroll through that mid game. They spiked through, immediately got 2 turrets. And I think that's the big difference that you have to watch for Tribe Gaming compared to a lot of the other NA teams in Summoner's Rift. Whenever there's fights that erupt, sometimes they'll just go back home and reset because, you know what, we can't really get any objectives off of that. Tribe Gaming, they always try to maximize their advantages. They get a fight, and then boom, I look for a tower. I look for a Rift Herald. I look for an object. Even jungle camps. Jungle resources is something that's so undervalued. Not necessarily farming your own, but counter jungling is so powerful in this game.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, that experience going to be taken away from a Olaf that absolutely needs to be in the lead, needs to be able to get those advantages. And I mean, any experience that you're able to take away from your opponent is always important. The standing gold, like you said, also very important as well. But another thing that I wanted to point out from Tribe that I felt was, really good is their restraint as well. They knew when it was time to say, hey, we're not going to move any further in. We're not going to try to take that next tower like that Rift Herald play. You were talking about it. You were like saying, hey, that could be a limit test. They could potentially go for that second tower. But instead, they go when they get the reset. They get the items necessary to go to that dragon and go into that dragon fight with an even bigger advantage that they wouldn't have gotten had they gone for that second tower. So really good plays coming in restraint-wise, but also being able to recognize that give and take. If you go and you play passive the entire game, if you reset after every single fight, it's not going to work. But if you're full steam ahead, if you're aggressive, you're going to gas yourself out. You're not going to be able to get to the finish line because you don't have those advantages that you were able to get out of those successful team fights. So Tribe Gaming, again, just showing us what they've been able to bring to the table. I mean, at the end of the day, Cloud9 still had things that they did. They were able to at least, give Tribe a run for their money in the early game, but the map awareness and the control that they were able to get just really snowballed them, like you were talking about, like the steamroll, the snowball, whatever it is, the momentum was built by Tribe, and they never let up.
And Tribe Gaming is an unstoppable force once it gets rolling. To remind everyone at home what the bracket is looking like, Tribe Gaming are currently in this best of 3 against Cloud9. They will be swapping sides as we get ready for the second draft of this series. Cloud9 would have to win the next 2 games to be able to advance, whereas Tribe Gaming, it's just one more, and then it's moving on to the final matchup where they will await the winner of Enemy and Immortals, who will play their own respective best of 3. And to remind everyone else, it is a $1,000 prize pool, winner takes all. No second place, no third place, no fourth place prize pooling. It's just either you get first or you last. Shout outs to Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights. If classic for the 2000s says, may have not aged well when you look back at it, but you know what? It was a movie of its time. Moving on to this next draft, though. In a Cloud9, I think when you're looking at forming the Ziggs and putting Griff on the Ziggs and really having a strong backline for damage, I think you need to have more lockdown. Olaf is a great champion for Tarzan individually because it is something that he really pioneered a lot, especially the Sterix Gauge of the Death Stance Rush. Comboing it with like an Orianna makes sense because you can give him the ball, you can empower him, maybe you can go for a Shockwave carrier. But if you're drafting Ziggs, then you want Ziggs to be the focus of your composition. And so it makes more sense to pick things like Wukong or Jarvan, things that are going to give you additional crowd control and lockdown, comboing with the Leona so that you are guaranteeing that the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to connect from your Ziggs. Otherwise, a lot of the times that these fights erupted, it seemed like Griff wasn't able to really get in those fights because it was a lot more, we're playing through Olaf. We're playing through this just kind of brute force, run in, aggressive style, and that works for the early game. But I'd rather see a commitment to one strong win condition, and then just all in on it, rather than trying to do the jack of all trades, because then you get split too thin, and you don't have a strong win condition in either way.
Yeah, and so, I mean, maybe they were listening to you, Rafa, but they pick up the Varus first pick. I mean, that is probably... a very, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, a solid start going in for Cloud9. Not going to be picking up that Ziggs. The only point that I wanted to come up with that as well is that, you know, when you're picking the Olaf as a jungler, then you have the Camille as your opponent. The Camille's just going to be able to stride right in and get the Hextech ultimatum onto Griff, which happened multiple times, and you end up just dying and you get none of the damage that you wanted out of that one. So a little bit of a miscommunication, it feels like there, but Tribe Gaming gonna retaliate. They're gonna pick the Olaf for themselves, and they're gonna pair it with the Renekton. I love this duo coming in from the Baron and the jungle. It's just so much in your face. Let me just knock you down 3 pegs. Let me just chop you away as Cloud9 responds with the Camille and the Ziggs coming through. Again, you know, trying to be able to go for potentially kind of the same play here. Picking up the Ziggs, most likely now going to be in the mid lane, though.
Between Varus and Ziggs, you actually have some powerful poke, and so these two champions actually make sense together. Also, Chain of Corruptions is a great way to help the assistance of the lockdown for a Mega Inferno Bomb combo. Also, Hextech Ultimatum. Pretty damn good ultimate for making sure one single target is going to be the recipient of a giant explosive coming their way. Now, Tribe Gaming, they're already answering with not only heavy dive in Renekton and Olaf, but also now the Rakan and the Xayah combo answered as well. Now, the cool thing about Rakan is that he's pretty flexible in whether you want to go forward or if you want to go backward. My read on this is that they are just really playing to dive forward, and they're telling Old School, listen, man, you're playing Xayah, you're self-sufficient, good luck. Because the rest of us, we're all in on going forward, man.
It's Hang 10. It's the Tier 5 tidal wave coming in from Tribe, and it's the Featherstorm being the great surfboard for Old School on this Xayah. Just going to be riding that wave along with them. It's going to be really fun here, but I want to also point out the Tribe Gaming's bans. Thresh, Blitzcrank, and Leona really testing Jackie as a support. We are getting the J4, and it's going to be paired with a Lux, which, I mean, when you limit the support pool from your Cloud9 support in Jackie, you gotta go in for something fun, and I love it. This is actually a really fun composition. I love what they've been able to draft here for Cloud9. Much more cohesive. I mean, doesn't matter what dive you have. If you're able to land all 3 of the Rakan, the Olaf, and the Renekton into that Cataclysm, that's going to be a major play coming in with that final spark. Tribe Gaming, though, they're going to respond with another carry that can get out of that potential Cataclysm in the Ahri.
So the mobility from Ahri gives starting the ability to navigate in and out of these fights and trying to dodge out on a lot of skill shot and potential crowd control lockdowns, mainly the Chain of Corruptions and the Lucent Biting from Lux. Cataclysm, you can also dash out as well. Hextech Ultimatum is going to be the only thing that makes Ahri feel bad in this situation because you cannot escape that zone. But I'm really, really proud that Cloud9 have made such a great adaptation in this second game. Because when you look at Olaf and you see the ways that you can make Olaf pretty sad, it is because you can't stop him. Crowd control, he ignores it all, but he can't ignore terrain. And Cataclysm just says, nah, buddy, if you don't have Flash, you are stuck here. And when you pop Ragnarok, yes, you gain a bunch of damage, and you ignore all crowd control, but you lose out on your bonus MR and your armor, which makes you really susceptible to Mega Inferno Bomb, Lux Ultimate, Final Spark, and even a Piercing Arrow from downtown. So Cloud9 have set up a powerful poke and siege composition here, and then when someone gets low enough, you throw out a Binding, you throw out Cataclysm if you're confident enough to say, you know what, this person's dead if you just lock them down. This is a more cohesive composition from Cloud9, and I'm honestly just excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really, I'm loving it. I'm really excited to see it. I can see it now. You know, I see it in my head. If Tribe Gaming wants to try to initiate something, you get the Cataclysm coming in from the J4. into, several members to get them locked into that terrain. One of the more slippery fish coming in either on the Zai or the Ahri. You land the Hextech Ultimatum, and now you have 4 members that are all locked in together. You get the Chain of Corruption landing, you get the Mega Inferno Bomb, you get the Lux ult, and it all is just bad news bears for Tribe. But they are an adaptable team. They are a strong team. They know where their strengths are. They know what they can do. Execution is going to be the big test here for Cloud9. And again, I'm looking to Jackie, seeing how well they're going to be able to play on that Lux, seeing as they've been really limited on their support pools. Is this a comfort pick? Is this something that maybe they've been practicing? Or is this a spur of the moment, hey, we have no other choice coming in to this matchup, we have to pick something, and Lux is the only option that I feel comfortable with? I don't know, but we're going to find out as we get ourselves into game 2.
I think the other thing that we can talk about for Tribe Gaming, because we talked a lot about Cloud9, and it's really exciting to see, this composition come together. Also, this is the first time I've seen a competitive Lux, at least in NA. I know there was a Sona Lux composition that was run in C Champs last night, and it's been run in the EU Origin Series a couple times, paired alongside strong melee frontliners that just want to go in. But this Lux is truly here just for the assistance of locking down characters at range, at a safe distance, assisting in poke, assisting in siege. But for Tribe, it's really going to come down to flanks and looking for how Chuck and Starting are able to disrupt the backline, because the way that you want to break up Cloud9's composition is to engage on them, but at different sides. You need to be able to, if you come at them from head on, it's a lot easier for them to disengage, to be able to back up and space themselves away from threats. But if you come at them from pinches from either sides of the fight, Cloud9 cannot control every single choke point when it comes to setting up for objectives, and that's going to be Tribe Gaming's play.
Yeah, and so you're absolutely right. And so it's, again, really looking to see what Cloud9 is going to be able to do here. The pieces are aligned. The stage has been set for a great game number 2. But now, will they be able to perform? Can they put on the show that is going to be necessary for them to be able to win this game? Rafa, it looks like we are going to be getting a little bit of counter jungling coming in from this J4. Tarzan going to be able to go for the blue buff, but looking at the mid lane, it is going to be Meals. The focus here will not go down, but they are going to drop that ward. They are going to see the Raptors aren't taken, and so now the potential collapse coming in onto the J4. Maybe, no, it is going to be the flash onto Jackie. Nice binding coming through, but the charm is going to land from Starting. Meals is going to be looking to get some damage as well. Not going to be able to go for any kills just yet. So everyone getting damaged. A great satchel, but no follow-up. It is Old School trying to get the kill onto Jackie. Will end up going down, and it's first blood again to Cloud9.
This was not only played incredibly well by Tarzan with this flank, but also Meals bought so much time for Cloud9 to be able to re-engage onto Tribe. Beautiful Hex explosive minefield as we got another fight in the topside river. Looks like Zella's caught out, but Tarzan might be able to turn things around with Meals. They still have the explosive minefield that Tribe Gaming are just walking through, and now Tarzan is going to look for the re-engage, just flashing right back in, trying to get the attack. So he got the Cataclysm, lands the flag, swag, and drag. Tribe Gaming now down 2,000 gold, Cloud9 up 4-1.
Massive start coming in, and beautiful use of the Cataclysm, getting level 5 out of that fight. You saw, Chuck was able to land in that Dominus, looking to be able to get that extra health, feeling confident because he got level 5 first. But Tarzan with a beautiful use of that Cataclysm. Just the follow-up again coming in from the rest of C9 that was able to really focus in on these really, at the early game, squishier champions. They don't have a lot of damage. They don't have a lot of health just yet. Tribe Gaming trying to bite off a little bit more than they can chew, and unfortunately really getting very little out of that, only getting 1 kill onto Zello.
Now, Tribe Gaming, as we talked about before, even in these early deficits, doesn't mean it is game over, as it is still just short of 2K in Cloud9's lead. Tarzan is huge, though. Black Cleaver Rush already completed way before both of these objectives have spawned on the map. Tarzan's going to be looking to play around Cataclysm once again. Take notice that Chuck doesn't have Flash. Starting doesn't have Flash. He'll have Spirit Rush, but if you're able to burn that early on, then that is a free Firefox ready to kill.
Exactly. And with 8 seconds remaining until the Rift Herald and the Ocean Drake spawned, we've got 4 members of Tribe and Cloud9 in the bottom lane looking to be able to potentially contest against this Ocean Drake. Flash is not available, like you said, for Truck and Starting, but Starting did go back and picks up that Black Cleaver and is now racing towards the middle lane, looking to be able to potentially be there in that potential big dragon fight. That Ocean Drake is extremely important for players to go for. But no one actually attempting to go for it yet, as it looks like we are just continuing to see the back and forth, the ebb and flow. The second blue buff of the game actually not going to go towards Tarzan, as Tigers is able to pick it up with that smite. Not going to be available for this Dragon Rafa, as it does look like maybe Cloud9 wanted to go for it. Nope, going to disengage it again.
And Tribe Gaming's Dragon Lane duo just got off of a reset. Griff and Jackie trying to communicate, hey, you know what? We're not going to be as strong as Old School and Max Green if we take this fight right now. We need to get a chance to reset ourselves. Cloud9 are not going to be in position to be able to contest this dragon as everyone is running from base. Tarzan is going to try to do his best to see if he can go for a Miracle Steal. Has Flash to be able to get outside of the bed. He goes for it, but Tigers will secure it. Tarzan is still going to try to lock them down for the kill, though, but gives up that shutdown over to Starting.
What damage coming through. You know, you thought that they were going to be able to at least get a kill onto Tigers. Starting to have to flash away. He gets a charm landed onto Jackie. Gonna have to flash away him herself. Will not go down. But a great attempt. You know, I appreciate the effort. You know, old college try coming in from Tarzan saying King of the Jungle. But unfortunately, he did not watch out for that tree and ends up going down. Tribe Gaming going to be able to take not only the dragon, but then the shutdown gold going to land, which is always big. It doesn't matter who you get it on when you're Tribe Gaming. Picking up items is always good. And looking at items, we've already got some pretty new big buys coming in from both teams. And look at that, Rafa. Tribe Gaming back in the leading gold as well.
What can I say, Moose? This is... Cloud9, I mean, they had a pretty solid lead that was off of the back of 2 very successful, well-executed fights that Cloud9 just played better than Tribe. But then when it comes to these objective setups, you know, Tribe also just being the benefactor of Tarzan trying to go for the steal and, you know, kind of sporting a shutdown. Now they're going to try to contest for this Rift Herald here. They can't interrupt T-Tigers from getting the Rift Herald, but it looks like he's going to go down. Final Spark. But they trade Tarzan and Zello in for it. It's still a 1-for-2. It's going to be a 1-for-3 now. Tribe Gaming just pushing themselves further and further into the lead.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's all 5 members of Tribe Gaming on the top side of the Rift. The Final Spark was there, and again, you know, the ability and the potential for a great play from Cloud9 is there. The Cataclysms are landing onto multiple members. The Final Spark is landing onto multiple members, but Griff was not there. He was decided to go to the bottom lane instead. Does pick up some solo or some turret gold for Cloud9, being able to pick up that first tower of the game. But he's not there in that fight. Hexacold Maiden is going to land on a truck to be able to disengage that 2v1. So we'll be able to get out just fine. Not feeling confident in that play.
Cloud9 are nowhere near even out of the game. It is getting to the point where Tribe Gaming are slowly getting the better of them in these macro setups and these macro plays and the way they are just executing these team fights. But Cloud9 still have a lot to work towards. You have to remember that the goal of this composition is to poke and siege. They've already unlocked the bottom turret. They got first brick this time around in favor of Cloud9. So now that they've unlocked the Dragon Lane duo, who can start going to different parts of the map, start setting up to siege on these towers, and then if they poke down members of Tribe successfully enough before the engage comes in, then you can start threatening them off the towers.
Yeah, so now looking at everything here, I mean, looking at the potential dive onto Zello yet again. We do have the Rift Herald ready to go for Tigers. Zello going to disengage, does not want anything to do with a very scary Olaf and Ari combination. We'll just let that tower just fall. So 1-for-1 in towers at the moment. We do get an extended, or not an extended, but maybe an overextension coming in from C9. They are going to pick up another Tribe Gaming buff, as the Rift Herald is spawned in the middle lane. That's going to be going in, and now looking for Tribe to be able to potentially go for a massive fight here, Rafa. Looking to be able to go for the engage.
Tribe are trying to cut them off in this route as they look to ram down the mid lane. They lock down onto the back line of Cloud9, and just look at T-Tigers. He rails Griff as he was trying to look for the escape route, but doesn't get away. Zello looking for the re-engage off that Hextech ultimatum, but only locks down starting. He's not able to trade any more back before Jackie gives up their life.
Oh, man, and there it is. Almost being able to get out of that one. Tarzan was being able to make it a 1-for-1 with starting going down, but Tarzan not going to be able to get away using the flag and going over the mountain. Won't be able to do so, and now she'll be coming around the mountain. It will be Tribe Gaming coming home with their second Drake of the game. The Mountain Drake is theirs. And already, I mean, a 4,000 gold lead. We've been saying it again, they're not done yet, Rafa. Cloud9 still has a chance to win this game, but the advantages are continuing to move forward into Tribe's favor. They are in position to be able to pick up a third Drake. They've already got looking like a pretty substantial item lead here. Not an item lead for starting against maybe Meals, but definitely with that Xayah being able to pick up that Infinity Edge and Essence Reaver already, 0, 1, and 2 is going to be really scary to go up against this Varus, who has, I mean, decent items, but it's not an Infinity Edge.
I mean, you say it's not a huge item lead for starting, but I think you're not giving enough credit to the proto belt that starting is rocking. And in fact, look at all the proto belts that Tribe Gaming. When we talked about this composition being a team that just wants to charge into your face against Cloud9, we meant it. And the proto belts are going to assist that even further. Even the Righteous Glory available now for T-Tigers as well to assist into just rampaging through the front line of Tarzan, trying to get around the Cataclysm, around the Hextech ultimatum, and just bombarding Griff, Meals, and Jackie. Tribe Gaming already taking possession of this entire top quadrant of the jungle. Look at the aggressive vision that they've played through. It is so dangerous for Cloud9 to walk alone, which is why they have to dedicate all these members towards it. And here's the engage.
Nicely done as the Rocket Belt lands into a lot of damage onto Jackie. Jackie will not go down, however, as the Mega Inferno Bomb lands. Tarzan only grabbing one. Tigers is the play, though, and we get the nice Spirit Rush coming in from starting, dealing so much damage. Yes, you get the Chain of Corruption onto 3, but you're able to dash in and secure so much power. And now it's Xayah running for her life. Zello barely dying, and it's an ace for Tribe. Beautiful play coming in throughout all 5 members of this Tribe Gaming squad.
You know, T-Tigers was the unfortunate punishment from Zello as the Hextech ultimatum locked him down, but T-Tigers did not go down without a fight. He got so much residual damage just throwing undertows, trying to battle it out with those vicious strikes and the reckless swings that throughout the entire commotion, no one is paying attention to the fact that Old School and starting are just getting free damage from the backline, poking, just throwing feathers out, throwing orbs of deception. And then when T-Tigers went down, they went trying to go through the choke point for the re-engage, and then Chuck dives through, starting dives through. Max Green goes in for the second re-engage, and Cloud9 don't have tools to disengage that second onslaught from coming through and just devastating them. And now Tribe Gaming with a 7,000 gold lead once again. This seems pretty familiar, Moose says. Now Cloud9 being pushed through their jungle. They're getting caught out once again.
Jackie is the target, and the Lux will fall. The Cataclysm is going to land on a 2, but it is going to be enough damage for Max Green to be able to survive that onslaught. Will be another kill for T-Tigers as he gets the kill on 2 Meals. It is now 4 members of Tribe, or of Cloud9 going down. It is Zello, the only surviving member for Cloud9, as Tribe now looks to be able to go in towards the Nexus. They get the inhibitor turret to go down. Starting takes the last kill, gets the ace, and takes game number 2. This game was never in doubt in Tribe Gaming's mind. Yes, they gave up a little bit of early damage, but they take this one in 13 minutes.
Tribe Gaming 2-0 Cloud9. I mean, you can say that this was not a surprise, and in reality and truth, we kind of say that Tribe Gaming was the favorites to win this tournament. But to give Cloud9 a little bit of credit, the early games were kind of an opportunity for Cloud9 to take advantage of some of the blunders that Tribe Gaming had in terms of their misexecution. There were some moments where, if we go back to game 1, T-Tigers diving through 2 turrets and not picking up the kill on Nazello. He got first blood. Even in that game 2, a beautiful flank that happened from Tarzan as he went for the counter jungling. Tribe just, I guess we're not accounting for where Tarzan was going to be on the map. He gets the pinch on them, and Meals did so much work in cutting off their escape route. I thought they were honestly going to be able to go for more, but they decided to just go for the 1 kill. And then even on top of that, they took another successful skirmish that got Tarzan to level 5, immediately activating the Cataclysm, locking down more. I mean, Tarzan was huge. He was the first one with a completed item in the game. I don't want to say that the shutdown is what threw the lead away, because I think it's a little disingenuous to just say, well, you shouldn't have gone for the dragon because you had all the shutdown gold on you and you gave it to starting, which then propelled it. It's really just comes down to the strategical macro play that Tribe Gaming are just hallmarked and known for. And when it comes down to that, Tribe Gaming always find a way to be able to just bleed you out on the map. So, Cloud9, I don't think they walk away from this disappointed. I think there's something that they gained, and something that they learned from this, and something to work towards as we wait to see them again in the regional championships in October.
Yeah, and I mean, this was not, the worst performance. I mean, again, like you were saying, in those early games, it definitely was a little bit more back and forth, but Tribe Gaming, flexing their muscles a little bit, showing us what they got, and really making it happen as we get to take a look at the bracket, moving into the next part of this tournament. With Cloud9 falling short here in this one, 2-0 in favor of Tribe. They're going to be able to move on into the finals, which does mean that we are going to get a chance to get to see Enemy and Immortals coming up here in just a moment. Like you were saying, though, about Cloud9, this was a nice opportunity for them to be able to play against Tribe. This is good opportunity for them to see, where some mistakes were made in the macro play, maybe to improve upon it for their next fight, their next tournament that they play against Tribe Gaming in the future, which I'm assuming is going to be the regionals. But again, trying to be able to make something happen, trying to be able to do what they can, just wasn't able to cut it out today. Tribe Gaming going to come out on top. I want to, before we go any further, I want to point out the elephant in the room, and that commentator's blessing coming in with those Hextech rocket belts landing in that last fight that we got to see, Rafa. It was huge. We got to see great rocket belts coming in from Max Green and from starting to be able to, or not from Max Green, from starting and from, oh my God, I'm falling apart here. And Chuck to be able to get into position to be able to take down Griff and to take down Meals in that big fight. I want to point out, that commentator's blessing is there, the prophet. Thank you, appreciate you as always for what you bring to the table. But other than that, I mean, pretty solid performance, 1 or 2 and done there for Tribe Gaming. Moving on to the next part of this one, and now we get to see another great best of 3 series between Enemy and Immortals coming up here, and I'm assuming just a bit.
Yeah, when I guess we're taking a break now, recharge your batteries, but upon returning, it's going to be Enemy taking on Immortals in the RiftMSTRS Invitational. Did you leave? Because it was only a short break, guys. It was like literally 2 minutes. So hopefully you went to use the little gamer's room or got yourself some water, got yourself some snacks. Because now we got Enemy and Immortals. Just to refreshen yourselves, the last time we saw Enemy was in the second major back on August, or near the end of August in the Wild Rift Summoner Series, whereas Immortals just recently picked up the first major win in this past weekend over on Giant Slayer. So now this is an opportunity for Immortals to see where they stand and where they align compared to a powerhouse like Enemy.
Yeah, and we were talking about that earlier in today's show, you know, talking about how the power of Tribe Gaming and Enemy are definitely there, but you cannot disregard the fact that Immortals has picked up a really strong support laner in Charm, has been able to come in with a lot of knowledge, ability to be able to control the map as a jungler previously, and now moving back over into the support role to play with Gume. I think that's going to be a really fun matchup and another opportunity to see how much Immortals has grown. Yes, it's only been, you know, about a week or so since we last saw them, so maybe not a lot of time to be able to practice, but now with an opportunity to be able to confirm what they were able to bring to the table in Major 3, grow upon it here in the RiftMSTRS Invitational, and maybe, you know, try to test some new things out, or maybe just try to, you know, practice on some of those comfort picks that they've got already lined up as we get to take a look at the draft so far. A little bit more of a top and jungle side bans coming through from both Immortals and Enemy, with only one bottom lane carry in the Varus getting banned out by Immortals. Camille and Renekton are the first two picks.
Renekton has been a Baron laner that has kind of popped up on the radar and kind of the popular ends for a lot of these players that like to be more aggressive and to take team fights in their own hands. It's not necessarily a champion that initiates or starts off the fights, but it's someone that comes in when a fight breaks out and looks to disrupt the backline, because Renekton on its own can just be such a terror, popping the Dominus, doing AoE damage, plus being able to threaten a lot of single target bursts through Ruthless Predator. But Moose, I know you see the Ashe locked in from Immortals, and that's already a ton of utility, a huge pick that we saw in the third major this past weekend.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Gume has definitely shown a lot of pressure and a lot of power with the Ashe. And now Enemy going to be picking up the Senna. You know, looking at it and looking at, you know, talking to Dienzio about what he's been able to bring to the table, it could potentially be a fasting Senna. I don't know if that's going to be a support Senna, or if it is just going to be a Senna coming in from the bottom dragon laner coming in from Enemy. We can see maybe later on down in the draft, Lee Sin coming through, a little bit more of a known pick that's going to probably be in the jungle. I mean, Type has put in a lot of work. I mean, wasn't there a Baron steal the last time that we saw Enemy play with that Lee Sin? I mean, that was really, really good coming in. Maybe not Enemy, maybe it was Immortals that played the Lee Sin, but regardless, I mean, a really strong champion. Love to see it. And we get to see a different playstyle than we got to see in the first match of the day between Cloud9 and Tribe. I mean, these are not completely different, because we get the Camille and the Renekton, but for the most part, different champions coming through, and I love to see it, because now we get the semi-global Destiny Ultimate coming in from TF. Another great pick coming in for Immortals. We'll see how that one plays out for him. I'm not sure how much experience Immortals has with Hoon playing as the TF, though. You'll maybe have to fill me in on that one, Rafa.
Well, Goon has shown that he is a very versatile player. He is able to play strong carries like assassins like the Akali and the Diana, but he also is willing to play things like Twisted Fate, Corki, even the Galio as well. So Goon is definitely a very well-rounded out player, and he's kind of the or Hoon is known as kind of like the poster boy of Immortals. He was the first player that they signed. They had a dope like promo video centered around him as well. And I know Hoon was feeling a little sad that he felt like he didn't get a lot of love or spotlight when Immortals won the third major, as we talked a lot about Gume, and he was like, but where's the love for Hoon? Don't worry, Hoon. You know, we respect you. Immortals have locked in this Xin Zhao to match up against the Lee Sin. Now, the Lee Sin Xin Zhao matchup is kind of breaks down in this. Lee Sin always gets to choose which fights he follows up on. However, if you don't take on Xin Zhao at a health advantage, then Xin Zhao can always have the base stats to win out on the 1v1. But Lee Sin can always opt to get out. Now, that's kind of the tricky thing. And I know Tybe, I don't know if you know this, Moose, but I've actually been playing a lot of Ranked Flex with Tybe recently. And he's... it's a lot of fun playing with him. He asked me to play Lee Sin for him. I unfortunately could not do enough to carry, as I was really out of my league. We were playing in like Masters Elo, and I'm still struggling to get into Diamond, man. I'm hard stuck Emerald, and I'm pretty confident on my Lee Sin, but I was playing against some really hard opponents. But then Tybe took the Lee Sin, and he's like, "Don't worry, Rafa. I learned from you, and I'll make you proud." So I'm pretty sure Tybe is not like giving me any love here, because I don't even know if he knows I'm casting, but I always appreciate seeing a good Tybe Lee Sin, man.
Now I'm feeling so self-conscious because I am not good. I am not a strong, mechanically sound player. I've got the old man hands now. You know, I'm over 25, and so you put my thumbs in on the Wild Rift, and I just end up like, I'm like, oh my god, the arthritis, why is it happening to me? But no, I mean, regardless of whether your performance was stellar in your opinion or not, we get to see, Tybe playing as a really strong champion for him. The Lee Sin is phenomenal. One of his comfort picks. Again, another comfort pick for Yikes in the Xin Zhao. Overall, across the board, I'm not seeing really anything crazy just yet. I feel like everyone's picking up some comfort picks. Truth picking up that Orianna, maybe a little bit of a question mark, or maybe something that I haven't seen recently. But really, at the end of the day, with the Gragas coming in from Immortals, this is a pretty classic lineup that I feel like coming in from them. Nice tanky bottom lane support for the Ashe. A lot of sustainability, or not a lot of sustainability, but a lot of, versatility in what the Gragas can bring to the table, and you get that Fjordian duo as well with the Gragas and the Ashe, which is always, lore symmetry is the important part of any League of Legends or Wild Rift composition.
Yeah, Immortals are playing a very heavy skirmish composition this time around. Now, normally I would say teamfight when you have big initiations like Gragas and Ashe Arrow, but you look at the rest of the Immortals lineup, and there's like the damage is not necessarily like huge or consistent, because a lot of the Ashe is a relatively low damage marksman. You're really picking her for utility, for initiation purposes, and Twisted Fate is also mostly utility. If you get far enough ahead, you get the Lich Bane and the Ludens and Death Cap on top of it, then sure, your gold card, wild card combos are going to be pretty massive, but it is nothing compared to likes of a Corki, a Ziggs, or even other strong marksmen like Lucian, who can be a terror in these team fights. But if you look on the other side of enemy, they're kind of in a similar boat. They don't necessarily have insane team fighting damage either. It's going to take a while for Dienzio to scale up on the Senna. It's going to take a while for this Orianna to come online and actually just go for the 3k Elo shockwaves that just nuke the backline of Immortals. So it really is just a battle of this top half of the map, where you are looking at Lee Sin Xin Zhao versus Lee Sin versus Xin Zhao, Renekton versus Camille. These skirmishers that just want to fight over crab, they want to fight over early, and really whoever pulls ahead is going to be the one that is snowballing the lead, because then the rest of the bottom side of the map has the initiation and the tools to enable these frontliners that actually are not necessarily frontliners, but melee bruisers that just want to get in your face.
Definitely. And you bring up, I think, the most important point about this one is it is going to be the top side, and not going to guarantee the victory, whichever top side does come out victorious. But, whoever does end up going for it is going to end up being advantageous. The barrier coming in from Zoro, it's going to deactivate, and it's Aloy picking up first blood for enemy in a clean play.
So, I know that solo kill just happened. That's cool. It's even more cool. We've got Truth's Rakan. coming in the mid lane. And Dienzio is playing the Orianna in the bottom lane with a fasting Senna support in Selma. And Orianna bot lane is actually something that we've only seen Sentinels from the NA region pull out, as Rest was able to flex it between themselves and Michael Udall. And it was mostly popularized by the C region, because a lot of the C teams have been playing around with bottom lane mages. First it was the Ziggs, which kind of makes sense because of its trajectory, but then the Orianna has been something that they flex towards the bottom lane as well. So honestly, Enemy taking a little bit of inspiration either from their friends in Sentinels or maybe just global inspiration, but we might have a skirmish as Immortals are saying, hey guys, get off the mid wave, because we're pushing in forward, and now they're chasing them down this river.
Yeah, a little bit of scary situation. Yikes, trying to put in some fear into the eyes of the Lee Sin and the Rakan, but they will be able to get out of that one and will be just fine. You know, Rafa, now looking at that Rakan again, it does bring a different question to the table coming in for Enemy. I have seen it before. Don't get me wrong. I have seen the Rakan before in some different plays. I think maybe try pull it out, but this was like a long time ago. In your opinion, what advantages does Truth bring to the table as the Rakan in the mid lane? Is it solely, again, for that utility, or is it more for the extra damage that he's going to be able to bring?
Let's see if Louis goes for another solo kill on Iraqi Zoro. It doesn't necessarily look like it. Doesn't have flash to follow up on the killing blow. But regarding your question about Rakan mid versus Rakan support, I think there's a couple things at play. One, by... Oh, Tybe. Tybe, buddy.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, this is a disaster for Enemy. Louis pops Dominus, though. Gets a lot of damage down. Cold Meek is going to slice through. Yikes. And now Iraqi Zoro's got to get the hell out of there. But a teleport from Hoon with a Destiny. Louis takes out Iraqi Zoro as well, but Hoon is able to pick up the pieces here.
Oh man, I should know my lesson. I should learn my lesson here in Wild Rift. You cannot ask a question. There's just so much action that comes into it. Doesn't matter if action's in the court or in the Rift or not. It is coming no matter what you do. But regardless, a great play coming in. That Dominus putting in so much work for this Renekton Aloe. Now 3-1, picking up not only boots, but then also that Black Cleaver, going back up to the top side of the Rift. So far, it feels like Enemy is winning out in the top side of the battle. As we get to take a look at now the next potential target here. Enemy looking to maybe go for the Rift Herald here, Rafa.
They're setting up for it. They're going to secure the Scuttle Crab, and most of the Immortal members are going to try and trade neutral objectives across the map. So no play here in terms of contestation from either Enemy or Immortals. They're going to take their respective objectives and walk away. Let's see if I can squeeze in this little tidbit about Orianna. Orianna and Senna in the bottom lane means that it's a double-ranged lane, so it actually can compete and contest Gragas and Ashe in the push, because it's a melee and range instead. And then Truth, mid-lane action here. Tybe looking for the insect, but it already forces out Hoon's flash. They got the Rift Herald crashing in, but we might get some more action here.
Looking like a lot of damage onto Truth. Does get the shield from the Dawning Shadows. Will end up going down those. We end up getting another kill. Hoon and Zoro will both die. Charm is still alive and will be able to take down the Rift Herald. Sheldon does go down, but for Enemy, yet again, another great play for them. Going to get them about 1,500 gold in the lead. Picking up another turret, looks like in the top lane as well. There it goes, there it falls. Enemy on the board and keeping the momentum going.
Enemy have already started to push their advantage. They have taken out the first two turrets of the game here. Moose first through the mid lane, and then also through the Baron lane simultaneously. You already see a lot of powerful item specs have been completed here. Luden's Tempest for both Truth and Dienzio. Hoon is popping the Destiny, trying to get an eye on where he can look for action, but everyone is in a pretty safe spot on the side of Enemy, so he's not going to go for a play this time around. Rakan, the fact that he got to go mid lane, it's because he went up against something like Twisted Fate, which is a really low threat, low damage laner. It's really just for the utility pick, so Truth can get away, and now he gets to do things like this, Moose.
Looking for another potential kill onto Yikes. Yikes will die, but Truth is now extremely low. Will end up going down. A nice shockwave gonna land. Beautiful damage coming in from Dienzio as Charm, the only member. Sorry, Charm, you will end up dying. Hoon is gonna land the yellow card onto the center, but Selma will have enough damage and health to be able to stop the engagement from Gume and the rest of Immortals. Yet again, enemy coming out on top. I mean, that was a beautiful shockwave coming in from Dienzio.
Dienzio, a man of all trades. First he plays marksman, then he plays Sona, now he's playing mages, and he's a pretty awesome YouTube content creator, by the way, as well. Posts, I don't know if it's daily uploads, but he posts like weekly content for himself, and he always is looking to experiment, and he does a lot of role swapping as well. He'll play jungle, he'll play mid, he'll play Baron, he'll play support as well. So Dienzio not only familiar with multiple aspects of the game, which then gives him the flexibility to pull out picks like this Orianna, which is now really allowing enemy to pull out, you know, something that we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. What were we going to see something new from enemy? And they're already showing us a little taste of what might come during the regional championships.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is great coming in. I mean, enemy putting in the work. I mean, this is, you know, a little bit of a dynamic pick coming in from enemy, picking up with that Orianna, looking to be able to use it effectively. So maybe a little bit of limit testing here moving into the regional championships, like you said, or regardless, I mean, just being able to bring it online here in this game is always fun. But looking at the other parts of this game, Immortals, they're behind by about 3.5K at this point. We do have Gume almost on second item, does end up picking up that Manamune. We've got 2 items already on the TF, though, with that Rod of Ages and that Rapid Fire Cannon. Time's going to go in for that flash into the kick. It's a lot of damage as we end up getting Hoon going down. Second death of his game. And Charm going to get hit by that Sonic Wave. Will not fly for that one. As we get Yikes now initiating potentially to avoid the extra damage onto that tower. Now, with Hoon down, he does have Destiny to potentially come into the fight, but with the Dragon now at about half HP, doesn't seem to be any sort of option for Immortals to contest it. Dragon number 2 going towards enemy.
Tyb, I see you. I saw that kick flash. And it's a little trickier to do on the Wild Rift version versus the PC League of Legends version, because based on how you set up your flash button in alignment with the rest of your buttons, you have to press the kick button, and then you have to press your flash button immediately in succession while also positioning it and clicking and dragging it to the location where you want that kick direction to be. Now, Immortals, they're going for a blue buff steal. Hoon has also popped the Destiny, and Yikes realizes, oh god, there are 4 members around me. I guess the blue buff was never mine to begin with.
That is a Yikes for sure there, Rafa, as the blue buff ends up just getting transferred over to Dienzio. Tries to land the shockwave onto Charm, not going to be able to get it. However, Truth is there, and the root is going to come in. A lot of damage, but not quite enough. Actually will be enough with that extra little bit of ticking damage coming in from Selma to pick up the kill onto the Gragas. Immortals will again lose out in another play. Enemy with 3 towers, a 5,500 gold lead, and a scary Rakan 0-2-7 with a Rabadon's death cap and a Luden's Tempest, Rafa. That is a very scary Birdman.
This Rakan is going to do some hella damage here, Moose. I don't know if you're ready for it. Are you ready for it?
I'm not. I'm actually unprepared. I am not prepared at all. This is scary. It is gonna be fun though. You know, at the end of the day,
yes.
It's always fun. It doesn't matter if it's scary. Fun is always the word. So I'm super pumped to see Truth continue to pop off here. Electrocute as well, just going to be shocking everyone in more ways than one. Tybe up against Zoro here. Gonna get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And now the Hextech Gold Maiden's gonna come in. A beautiful kick.
Guess what?
To be able to get him away into the flash. And now Sonic Wave into that extra healing. I can't believe he survives that one. Tybe showing off again as Truth looks to be able to continue to keep the engagement in a
Yo!
beautiful shockwave. Wow! The Dawning Shadow is going to land. Truth does die. The Destiny lands. Hoon going to get a little bit of damage on its eye, but he will go golden. Selma now looking to be able to continue to keep up the pressure as Hoon is the next target, going to get rooted. It will be another kill for Selma as Zoro is now looking to go for the 1v3. He is not the man. He is not the myth. He is not the Zoro that we want. And it's going to be Selma, a fasting Senna, no way, picking up all these kills.
Bruh. Tybe, like, I don't even know what to say. Because in that moment, he's just chilling on the dragon side of the map, and he gets the Crystal Enchanted Arrow, he baits out so many abilities because he knows that he still has kick, he still has flash, he still has safeguard to get out. This is why Lee Sin is such a slippery and hard to deal with
showing off
champion
again as
when
Truth looks
in
to be able
the
to
hands
continue
of
to keep the
someone who can
engagement
pilot
in a
a shield.
beautiful
Oh
shockwave.
my God.
Wow! The Dawning
Already
Shadow is
getting
going to
a
land. Truth
ton of
does die. The Destiny
ultimate
lands.
abilities
Hoon
out, no
going to get a little bit of
Christian
damage
Arrow,
on its
no
eye, but he
Hexacle
will
means
go
a
golden.
re-engage from Truth
Selma
and
now looking to be able to
Dienzio.
continue to keep
The
up
charm
the
into
pressure as
shockwave
Hoon
combo.
is the next target, going to get rooted.
Beautiful, completely destroys Immortals in the cleanup, and Iraqi Zoro doesn't even get a chance to lock down Tybe because, like we said before, listen, it's just too damn slippery, man.
I mean, again, just so much movement across the Rift coming in from Tybe, showing us what he's got. Enemy, I mean, this is a beautiful game one for them so far. They're up by about 9,000 gold. Third Dragon and Ocean Drake spawning here in just a moment. And they are in position. They've got some very nice vision around the bottom side of the Rift in on that blue Sentinel pit and further on as well. I mean, Charm is going to be that frontline advantage or frontline player here for Immortals, but he doesn't really even have a chance to be able to go in for any sort of initiation. It's Truth that wants the initiation into the Charm. Gume will be dead as Selma goes on a killing spree. The explosive cast will get everyone separated, but there is no follow-up. Enemy picking up the kill onto Gume, and now looking to go towards Baron. Zoro in that Tri-Brush, maybe looking to be able to go for the Smite Steal. That is going to be a 4v5 if they do decide to go for it. Hoon does have Destiny ready to go, but now it's a Louis and Selma looking to be able to get the potential engage. A beautiful shockwave is going to land on the Xin Zhao, and it will end up being Lee Sin picking up the Baron. Zoro looking to be able to escape with that flash into the nice legs, but it's not enough. Selma goes unstoppable. Enemy gets the Baron and a 10,000 gold lead.
Tell me you saw the Truth damage, man. Tell me you saw him almost 100-0 Gume when he went on him earlier on. As we get another fight, Tybe, you don't have friends this time around. He's got a GA. Stace is going to be popped. Dragon's Rage is not available for him. And it looks like Tybe, the GA is going to pop now, but Dienzio's now on his side to protect him. He's got command to protect. No GA anymore for Tybe, though. He's going to feel a little feels bad that he had to burn that without being able to get anything returned, but Louis is putting some pressure through the Baron lane at this moment.
Oh, man, you know, to answer your question, I had to kind of shield my eyes a little bit there, looking at the damage that Truth was able to bring to the table. Nice explosive cast to initiate the fight, but oh my word! The Baron buff Truth, he's gonna go down, but see the damage, it's just there! There's nothing that Immortals can do to stop it. Yes, Louis will die. Yes, Truth will die. But with 3 members enemies still up, it's going to be Baroned up minions now in the base of Immortals. Shockwave's going to land on a 2 as Hoon does go down. Will end up being Yikes as the next target. Yikes will die. And now Charm is left to defend what's left of his base. It is no longer there. Enemy will take game 1 in what was a very entertaining match.
You know, for Dienzio's first stage game of Orianna, 5-0-12, sheesh, not a bad scoreline. Although, Dienzio, if you go back and watch the VOD, I saw that sombrero, buddy. I'm not going to let you live down that one. That was kind of cringe. You know, you got to land those if you're going to play this champion, but it's okay. He got every other single one. So, you know what? And look at that. Rightfully so, Dienzio got the MVP award, although Tybe might be a little upset about that one. He might feel like, no, I was the MVP, guys. But overall, the Orianna bot lane experiment worked. Dienzio has obviously put in a lot of time on this champion, and it's stage ready, and it was enough to combo with a really clever strong initiation combo with Truth, because normally when we look at this composition, Rakan can't do a lot on his own. That's why he's normally looked at as secondary engage, to follow up on a strong initiation, things like Gragas or Malphite to be the primary initiators. But if you're full AP, you can go in and do whatever the hell you want, man. You are like blowing up backliners by yourself. The Shockwave can follow on top of you as well. And you're just basically free delivering a 2k damage nuke to the backline. And then what are Immortals supposed to do afterwards?
I have to go back to that fight after Ty was able to be that slippery eel and escape into the play. I mean, Truth was, you know, the spring chicken, as it were, or the sacrificial lamb in this game. You know, 0-5 or something like that. Didn't get, I don't think he got like 1 kill or something, but he was putting in the damage and he was getting the charm and just ended up going down. I mean, what's the best word for it? Is it like a sacrificial lamb, or is he more of a red herring that the rest of Immortals tried to go for? He ends up going down after he gets his massive charm into those shockwaves. There were several times that he was able to make that happen. And Truth really showed us, you know, the reality of the situation, which is that enemy is a very flexible team. And they have been working on some potentially flexible picks here coming into this tournament. Immortals, that's going to be so scary, because you now have to basically roll the dice, you know, saying, hey, you know, this Orianna, if they pick it again, it could potentially go back into the bottom lane, or is it going to be a traditional mid lane Orianna? Are we going to get to see Varus head to the mid lane in this next one? Are we going to get to see a Garen in a support role? Are we going to get to see the Sona Seraphine bottom lane that we got to see, I think, in Major 2 coming in from Enemy? I would love to see Dienzio again back on that Sona. It's all on the table now. And that's something that I love about Enemy. They play the game for not only for fun, but they bring some really fun entertainment value into it as well.
I think the other thing that we have to consider is, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to hold that point when we come back from this break, as we're going to take a chance to refresh, recharge your batteries. When things all load back in, it's going to be game 2 between Enemy and Immortals.
They kinda tell me what I'm thinking. Fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. They never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. Nobody can
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we're just making sure that the players are not experiencing any technical difficulties, as it doesn't seem like the players were ready to start the draft yet. But now, all the players are in the lobby. The draft should be starting soon. Going into Game 2, we already know that Immortals have a lot to answer with not only the fact that Enemy have this potential flex pick in this Orianna, but it kind of changes up things as they already say, you know what? No more full AP Recon from Truth. You can't have it. Stop it.
Absolutely not. That was, I mean, again, scary. It is Halloween season, and it is pretty scary to see Camille is going to be the last band coming in from Immortals. But before we go any further, Rafa, I got to shout out. Your sweater weather sweater. It is fire. You've got the drip, man. I'm like super impressed. It's beautiful. It's glorious. I mean, look at that. Oh my God. Are those llamas as well, or is that an alpaca on that?
Yeah. So this is traditional like alpaca fur from like Peru, and that's where my family comes from. So this is like kind of like. I mean, so it's not necessarily traditional clothing, because if this was like super traditional, it'd be like super bright colors, and I'm not ready to go all out on that. That's usually more towards like the spring, summertime. But there is like a modern like Peruvian clothing store that does make like more like muted colors, and this is perfect for like the fall and the winter. Appreciate you shouting it out. But we got a draft. Immortals still rocking with the Ashe. They still want the utility and the initiation. Enemy, though, they're going back to some basics here for Truth, and it's the Corki being locked in.
Yeah, the Corki. I mean, now because you take away the Rakan, it allows for the Corki to be available, and so Enemy is going to pick that up for game number 2. Appreciate it that they're saying, hey, you know, if you're gonna take away some of these other champions that we had been, you know, flexing on you here in game number 1, it leaves open one of the best mid laners. Maybe we get to see Dienzio play it in the bottom lane. That Corki is phenomenally strong. I mean, one of the best in my opinion here in Wild Rift. I mean, the Valkyrie is extremely potent in what it can bring to the table. But now going on to the other side of the Rift, Immortals, they're packing a pretty decently utility-sized punch coming into the bottom lane. That dragon lane is Senna and Ashe, with a Lee Sin going to be chosen this time. So the Lee Sin going to be switching over to Immortals.
Yikes said, Ty, you had too much fun on the Lee Sin. Stop that. It's my turn now. I get to play the Lee Sin. And Yikes has definitely made a name for himself after role swapping from support to jungle. He's actually also one of the few junglers that will play the Pantheon in the jungle role. It's really only a flavor that the European scene in the Origin series has revolutionized, but here it comes. It is going to be the Sona Seraphine bottom lane from Enemy and Dienzio. Oh my goodness, Moose.
Oh, it's the SS tier, baby. Rafa coming through. This is going to be a great matchup. Enemy showing off the Sona Seraphine. We got to see it a couple of times, I believe, in Major 2. I don't remember if they played it in Major 1, Rafa. They played it successfully more in the earlier stages of the draft. I think they pulled it out once against Tribe. It didn't work out. I'm very excited to see what it's going to bring to the table now. It is so fun to see. Maybe you pair it with a Jarvan at this point in the jungle, Rafa. I mean, what's the jungle pick at this point? You could pretty much go anything, and it's going to work.
You should go for something that benefits off of movement speed and heals. Junglers that want to continue fighting until the death. Xin Zhao is actually really good for something like this, because Xin Zhao usually suffers from the lack of ability to continuously chase and run down a target, but he has great base stats, and if he is constantly fighting someone, especially with Conquer and with a build like Trinity Force, Sterix Gauge, Death's Dance, he will never die, especially when he has the likes of a Seraphine and Sona backing him up. Immortals are prepping for a potential meatball composition, though, because Ahri can escape the grasp of a meatball composition, right? Thanks to Spirit Rush, and you can always look for single target picks. But Darius is the big pick that you have to be on the lookout for, because if he gets a reset and finds the Sona Seraphine bottom lane, suddenly your enchanters are gone from the Noxian Guillotine resets, and then there's no more enchanters to make your meatball composition come to life.
Yep. Oh,
Wukong
and it's going to be Wukong. Yeah, I love Wukong. A fun fact for you, Rafa, Wukong was the first champion that I played and played well as when I started back in League of Legends. So I got all the Wukong skins. I'm rocking the Underworld Wukong right now. So I'm super happy to see Wukong come onto the Wild Rift here today. We've seen the Wukong play well in a lot of comps like this because, you know, he's very flexible. He's very mobile. The clone into a Nimbus Strike, into the Cyclone can land a lot of damage and can get away from things. He's able to avoid the charm. He's able to avoid the root. He can also potentially tank the enchanted crystal arrow if the clone is used correctly. So it's a lot of projectile deviation against Immortals as well. So Enemy is drafting, I think, a strong combination, something that we've seen them be able to use effectively before. It's all about, you know, again, execution now. Immortals, that Senna Ashe bottom lane, they're going to be able to potentially disengage a little bit better than maybe some of these other bottom lane engage, or these bottom lanes that they could potentially go for. Lee Sin can disengage. The Ahri can disengage. Darius, I mean, not so much, but you're able to potentially pick and choose what fights you want. As long as you have the Darius ready to go, you're able to potentially go in for a great play, get that Noxian Guillotine going, get those Grievous Wounds ASAP to be able to deny healing. It's going to be a fun matchup. I'm super excited to see what both these teams are going to bring to the table, and it's do or die for Immortals. They need to win this game if they want to go in to a Game 3 series.
You know, Immortals have some pretty nice tools to potentially lock down a priority target from Enemy, but you are playing against one of Tybe's signature champions in the Wukong. If you go check out the Tybe Twitch stream, you'll see that he considers himself the best Wukong Camille in NA, which is kind of like the little overlay that he's got for himself. And Enemy has powerful methods of engage, which is great for them because this is a composition that just wants to group up as 5 and deathball Immortals. They always literally, like when you think of NA ARAM compositions or just NA running it down mid, I mean, this is literally the pinnacle of that because Seraphine and Sona by themselves, not that strong. They don't really pack that much damage on their own unless they're just, for some reason, a couple thousand, 3,000 ahead of their opponents, but this composition comes to life when they are constantly spamming their abilities, empowering the rest of Tybe, Alui, and Truth to just pick and choose these fights whenever they want. Now, Immortals, they have a chance to stop this and put this composition into the ground because this composition doesn't spike immediately off the get-go. It comes in the mid-game. And so Immortals, with Lee Sin, you have to get this composition really stopped at all costs.
Immediately, it is the important play for sure. We already are getting the danger pings potentially coming in from Immortals. Scary potentially with Ty playing as that Wukong in the river. You don't want to go up against him at this point, but I want to be focusing on the fight between Alui and Araki Zoro. I mean, if this Darius is not able to get ahead, pick up those items, be able to sustain into those fights, moving into a more teamfight stage play, it's going to be difficult for the rest of Immortals to be able to survive long enough to survive whatever plays they want to go for. But now Yikes is looking to go in for a potential play here in the mid lane. Truth is going to be taking a lot of damage. Yikes going to be able to disengage, so no one goes down, but just continuing to keep up that early game pressure.
It's the good old standard jungle mid laner clashing in the mid lane for that wave push as Truth actually feels confident to get some chip damage onto Hoon. Hoon doesn't have enough mana to be able to bring back a charm, and Tybe knows that. He falls up despite the flash from Hoon, picks up first blood. Leix is able to answer with a sonic wave into the resonating strike, but it looks like charm might be caught out here. Tybe looking for more damage under the tower. He has the double enchanters to assist him in the exchange, and it forces Yikes to flash away.
So a lot of damage coming through, and a save actually coming in from D'Enzio there, being able to get that extra little bit of healing onto Tybe, going to be able to keep him alive long enough to be able to escape. It was looking really scary there for Charm, Rafa. I thought that that kick actually gave another kill over to Tybe on that Wukong. It was extremely close. Thankfully, though, Charm going to be playing a little bit more of Resolve runes, so going to be able to use that to be able to keep himself barely alive in that play. But so far, I mean, 1-1 right now. A nice little a little bit of counter kill coming in from Yikes. So far, though, nothing really crazy happening just yet. Enemy's still looking to take off, but Immortals, they're just trying to be able to make sure that enemy does not get themselves into a good position early on. And at the moment, still a fairly even game.
Yeah, no item completions have come in for Selma or D'Enzio, respectively, so Immortals are not in the kind of panic zone quite yet. There's still some time to snowball the side of Immortals and really just put this Sona Seraphine comp into the dirt, but they are on a clock, and we're going to see how things change when we get closer to this objective. Hoon comes up for a roam, and Alui says, Ashes, my bad. I'm not going to get up on your Baron Laner anymore. Flashes away. And that's going to be something to keep in mind as Immortals and Enemy get closer to these two objectives spawning in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, it does look like Immortals may be looking to go for more of a Rift Herald or Baron side push with the rotation from Gume and Charm over to the top side. Does mean that they might have a numbers advantage moving into this Rift Herald fight. Tybe going to be put upon, but does end up getting the Rift Herald, so not really worried about that just yet. With Araki Zoro in the bottom side of the Rift, he is not there for a potential Rift Herald fight, so this might actually not play out because we get all 5 members of Enemy now in the area, Rafa. Gotta be careful as we get the first objective fights potentially coming in just a moment.
All 5 members grouped up for this Rift Herald on both sides. They don't want to secede the Rift Herald to either team. Enemy currently in better position. Crescendo and Encore are available. A flash from Araki Zoro trying to isolate the Seraphine away, but Alui comes in for reinforcements. They land the double Encore into the Crescendo. There's the package from Truth, and they lock down Araki Zoro. Yikes is also going by the wayside. Looks like Hoon is able to escape. And Truth might have gone a little too far forward in this mid lane. Doesn't have reinforcements to back him up, but enemies still equalize and come out on top of the trade.
Yep, and now with the Wukong and the Renekton still alive, ready to go, they're looking to go towards Sheldon or Shelly. And on top of that, a little extra credit coming in from Tybe as he's able to strike and crack the hammer down on to Hoon. That Ahri's not going to be available with 2,300 damage, air health left remaining on the Rift Herald. It is going to be Alui diving in, securing another kill onto Gume. Shelly is now still the target here, but it will be a steal coming in from Immortals. A beautiful play coming in from Yikes. Will end up taking away that neutral objective. Enemy still gets the kill, but not going to get the Rift Herald.
Okay, so Enemy are a little sad. They don't get the Rift Herald. Immortals are able to stem the bleeding a little bit. That could have been a huge macro and tempo swing for Enemy. Because off of that Rift Herald, they were already pushing in for the second plate on this Baron turret. With the Rift Herald, they definitely would have been able to secure first brick for themselves. It's not going to come in quite yet, although Araki Zoro, nice pull. Oh God. You didn't want that at all.
Oh, no. Man, you got a solo live performance right on stage from D'Enzio. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to stun Alui. We'll be able to flash away. Oh, man. You know, he wanted that, though. You know, that was an intentional pick. He wanted to go for that Noxian Guillotine. He wanted to take those kills, but he wasn't even able to drop the ultimate. And ends up going down and giving first tower over to Enemy. And on top of that, though, or at the other side of the Rift, though, first tower going to be, or the tower going into the bottom lane for Immortals, and they also get the dragon.
First dragon of the game is going to go over to Immortals. They're going to get a little extra HP shield, which will be nice for the burst, but when Enemy are a composition built around sustained damage and just outlasting and enduring the onslaught of Immortals' team, The HP shield is not going to do that much in the grander scheme of things for them, but it's nice to have for any primary burst. Might give Immortals the upper hand if they look for a certain pick and they need to deflect any powerful ultimates that come through for enemy. But so far, we're still in a somewhat even state of the game. Yes, enemy are ahead, but Immortals still have some time to try and snowball this game. They're not completely down and out. However, the closer we get to the Baron 10-minute mark, the closer it is to enemy's time to shine in the mid-game here, Moose. So time's a-ticking, and Immortals need to find an opportunity fast.
We are in the pre-show, coming in with the Sona Seraphine performance, about to be a live showing here against Immortals. Enemy is definitely just waiting to be able to keep things going, but the initiation is coming in. A lot of damage. The crescendo is going to land onto a Yikes to be able to try to get out of that. One does go golden to be able to survive, and a nice charm going to land onto Sona and going to be able to secure that kill onto Dienzio. That's a beautiful play coming in from Immortals. Great initiation and a great finish.
I thought that was about to turn into disaster for Immortals because when Yikes went in, I realized he didn't have kick. That was a great opportunity to really just lock down two members, but they were able to get enough damage onto Dienzio despite the crescendo and the encore coming out to try and mitigate the losses there. So Immortals still slightly behind, but they have caught up in terms of the goal deficit that they were experiencing from the first few minutes of the game. It's still not going to be enough if this is all that they can get within the next 2 minutes here, though, Moose. They need to look for another play. Yikes is going to get Dragon's Rage up in a little bit. Hoon has Spirit Rush available. Gume has in Crystal Enchanted Arrow. Once again, they need to play... Oh, they might be looking for something bot lane.
Oh, nice flash and a use of Valkyrie there coming in from Truth to be able to get away from that potential play. Very close, though. I love the effort, and I love the continued aggression coming in from Immortals. They know that they need to be able to initiate these fights and successfully use them to get into a good situation here. And if they don't soon, it could be game over for them. So I appreciate the extra efforts. With 18 seconds remaining until the Baron spawns, we've got all 5 members again going in for enemy over to the top side of the Rift, with now Araki Zoro being the last member to go up to the top side quadrant. On top of that as well, Gume does have Frost Arrow ready to go. This could be another good fight here.
Crystal Enchanted Arrow does land on the tie, but there's no follow-up from Immortals, so it's a pick that does not get capitalized on. And now Louis getting some trade and damage onto Hoon, just locking him down with Ruthless Predator. They're just looking for wave prio right now. They don't have the best vision securing the entrance into this barren river, but for enemy, they do have control. Ooh, that could have been close there.
Yeah, that was very close. A charm landing onto Dienzio, but now the healing is there. The damage is there. The items are there for Dienzio and for Selma, so they're going to be able to heal that back up fairly easily. 17 seconds until the next Drake spawns. It is a Cloud Drake ready to go, and it is going to be an enemy reset. So no one going for Baron. They're prioritizing most likely either a split play, so that enemy either goes for the Baron or the Dragon, or they fight for the Dragon. I mean, at this point, this could be scary. A fight could go either way at this point in the contest. If enemy wins this one, it could be game over for them, as it looks like we get to see a lot of now poke and prodding coming in from Immortals. Looking like everyone going towards the Dragon Pit, Rafa, as we get to see potentially the play here at the Dragon.
Crystal Enchanted Arrow does land, but no Apprehend will be able to follow up from Araki Zoro. Now they look for the re-engage. Dragon's Rage punts a Louis away. Typeso looking for an opportunity to get onto the backline. Crescendo and Encore don't really lock down Immortals yet for follow-up, but a Louis is still tearing up the backline with this assault. An enemy have Immortals on the run. Charm is getting free hits through the side, but it's not going to be enough damage coming in from Immortals to deter enemy from just walking through the jungle and finally taking out Araki Zoro.
I mean, that was scary for enemy. Neither Crescendo nor Encore land, which is extremely surprising to see that enemy was still being able to come out on top of that one. There's the sustain coming in from the Sona Seraphine combination. We've also got Aloe being able to get healing as well. And so now they pick up 1 kill. Now they're looking to be able to go for the dragon themselves as well. Redemption coming in from Immortals to potentially get a little bit of more health back to go for this extended fight. The Enchanted Crucible is going to land, and it will be another steal coming in from Yikes as he secures the kill onto the dragon. He will not be able to get out of that one as we do get a killing spree onto Tybe, and another kill as well as Gume falls. Boone will be able to use Spirit Rush to be able to get away, and we get a nice shove in coming in from the Darius, but there's no follow-up, and it's a double kill for Truth and a rampage for the Corki. Yes, they get the dragon, but they lose so much out of that play.
Man, I feel bad for Iraqi Zoro. Man literally just respawned onto the Rift, walked up and said, okay, guys, I'm here for... Where's my team? Oh, I'm crescendoed. I'm f***ing dead. Oh, my God. Well, this is painful. And Immortals, they are trying to keep themselves in this game. And notice here that the fight had lasted so long,
going to land, and it will be another steal coming in from Yikes. He secures the kill onto the dragon. He will not be able to get out of that one as we do get a killing spree onto Tybe. And
when it comes to this composition, made to outlast and out-endure your opponent. You just cannot wear down enemy if you don't have Grievous Wounds. And think of, where are the Grievous Wounds from Immortals? There's none. There's no Executioner's Calling. There's no Oblivion Orb. There's no Bramble Vest. Like, guys, they're healing. You can't kill them if you can't actually cut down the healing.
But you know what, Rafa? We've got a Rod of Ages and a Luden's Tempest coming in for Hoon.
No, man.
He's just a couple gold away from a Rabadon's death cap. Look at those Ruby Crystals coming online as well for Yikes and Zoro. And that Force of Nature coming in. You know, they've got items across the board. But no, the crucial item that they needed was Grievous Wounds. This is a misplay, I feel like, coming in from Immortals. They needed to prioritize something like that. And now it's going to be too late even if they try to go for it, because now they've got they don't have any, they've got 2 dragons, but they've given up so much control and vision over here at the Baron Pit, and that could be potentially the game closing buff for enemy if they're able to get a good fight here, as it looks like they are looking to initiate onto it.
Immortals are trying to walk into this Baron. Enemy taking it slow. They have package available. They're waiting for the engage. It's a beautiful kick from Yikes. 3-man kick across the backline, but this package just separates and splits up the rest of the Immortals' backline, so they can't even follow up on the engage, and it's a full house sweep. An ace for enemy, and they're going to push it down, and I think this is going to be game, Moose.
You know, the only reason why Truth died in that one was because he wasn't near the healing from Dienzio and Selma. When you've got 2 bards in a raid party, you're just moving and grooving and soothing your way into a great fight, and this raid is over. Enemy taking game number 2, taking the match, and going on to the finals to face off against Tribe.
Credit to Immortals. You know, in a similar vein that Cloud Knight showed against Tribe just earlier on, it was a good benchmark, a good test of strength to see where they stood among greater competition based on previous results in the Summoner Series just, last month. You know, Immortals did have a pretty victorious win in the 3rd major, cementing themselves as the 3rd best team entering in the regional championships. And we thought that, you know what, let's see if they have a chance to show that maybe they have a chance to tussle with Enemy. But Enemy have shown here in this series they are the more dominant team. And so Immortals, now this is an opportunity for them to go back to the drawing board, get ready for the regional championships just in a couple more weeks, and get ready because, Enemy and Tribe, if this is the level they're performing on and this is where Immortals are, if Immortals want to make a run to face the better competition, because I've seen the banter on Twitter. I know Iraqi Zoro and the rest of Immortals are saying, man, EU and C teams, they ain't we got this. NA's best dog in the house. Well, if you want to represent NA, you gotta beat the home competition first, guys. So, and I know they know that. I don't want to give them too much of a hard time because I love these guys. I love all the NA teams. I want NA to do well when we come to the international competition. Got to be the hard dad, It's just be like, hey, man, you guys just go back to get some practice in, start talking through some, going to the VOD reviews, look through what went wrong in the macro play and decision making, or if it's just really down to execution, then something that you got to drill over and over.
Man, game 2, though, we gotta talk about it again. No grievous wounds. Shout out to Iraqi Zoro at the very end of the game, picking up that Bramble Vest. At least showing that he does see, okay, we do need a little bit of anti-healing coming into game number 2. But, I mean, you've got to be able to recognize the opportunity that a Soda Seraphine bot lane has. I don't want to attribute the loss to the lack of grievous wounds, but it was definitely a contributing factor. I also want to shout out, yikes, 2 steals in that game. Really very nicely done. I mean, being able to really put the pressure on in the jungle and putting in that work. Had it been a different team composition, had they been able to get those fights a little bit better early on, had those initiations gone into more kills, it might have been a different story. But at the end of the day, enemy takes down Immortals. It is a 2-0 sweep against them. And now we get to move on to the final part of this bracket. We get to take a look at 2 of the best teams in the NA region facing off against each other for a $1,000 grand prize. Both Tribe Gaming and Enemy being able to take on their respective opponents and beat them in a 2-0 match. Tribe Gaming taking on Cloud9 and Enemy just taking on Immortals. Both of these teams now, Tribe Gaming and Enemy, are now 1 set away from the $1,000 grand prize, and this is a big rematch. This is something that I think I've been waiting for. I think that you've been waiting for. I think that the viewers at home have been waiting for. This is going to be a really fun opportunity for both of these teams to show us what we've got. Does Enemy have what it takes to take a set off of Tribe and win this one, or has Tribe leveled up once again, and will they be able to take this victory away? I'm very excited to find out.
I mean, Tribe currently have the 4-0 set record through the first 2 majors, where they've only dropped 2 total games against Enemy in their entire, set career. But when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be the final matchup here for the RiftMSTRS Invitational. Remember, $1,000 prize pool, winner takes all, no split among the 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. It is $1,000 to the first place winners, and we're going to find out whether it's going to be Enemy or Tribe taking the crown.
I fell in love with your colors. They kind of tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. We never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. Never know where we will fall. No
gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. It is the rematch, El Clásico, as is now being defined here in the North American scene for Wild Rift. Enemy and Tribe will clash once again here in NA, and this time it's through the RiftMSTRS Invitational. And just to give you a chance for any newcomers and new viewers that are just stumbling into the stream, first of all, welcome. Hope you enjoy your stay. We're going to recap the bracket and show you where we first started at the beginning, because it has been a fun ride so far looking at how these two teams first got into the final position. Earlier on, Tribe Gaming took on Cloud9 in a dominating 2-0 fashion, although much credit to Cloud9. They did put up a bit of a fight and had some promising things to build upon through the early game. Same thing with Immortals. Enemy took them down 2-0, but there are some promising and, moments, maybe some silver linings that Immortals can look towards, as both of these teams, we'll see them again when we go to the regional championships next month, Moose.
Definitely some hallmark moments available for both Immortals and Cloud9, but they won't take home the bacon today because this is a $1,000 winner-takes-all invitational tournament. All 4 teams invited to play here in this game. It is a single elimination best of 3 series bracket here, Rafa. And so Cloud9, Immortals, they will not get any share of that $1,000. And between Tribe and Enemy, only one of them will be able to take home any sort of money. And so, it's all on the line. Either Tribe or Enemy going to be able to take this best of 3 series and win. There is no bracket reset. There is no losers bracket. There is no second chance. It is do or die and go home here in this one, and it is going to be fun. Tribe Gaming versus Enemy, and you were talking about it before. It is El Clásico. It is one of the best matches that we get to see here in NA. I mean, Enemy and Tribe Gaming have been going up against each other in a lot of their series before, Summoner Series, before that as well, just being able to take on and really put in the pressure against each other. And so now it's up to Tribe to be able to keep that streak going and not drop a set towards Enemy. It's going to happen eventually, Rafa. Is it going to happen today? Let's find out.
Well, Enemy, you have shown us that you have been working on some stuff, and you have refined some old compositions that were still spicy. We saw the Orianna bottom lane for Dienzio, but then we also saw the return of the Sonafine combo through the Dragon Lane duo, and it performed remarkably well. Now, as you noted earlier on in the broadcast, Moose, the last time that Enemy pulled out the Sonafine combo, it was against Tribe Gaming in one of their best of 5s. Didn't work out so well because, like we talked about before, the way you punish that combo is you don't let it get off the ground. You don't let it get through the early game for free. You can dive the 2 champions early on. You got to get heavy push in. You have to trade HP to contest and push the wave in. You call your jungler over, you call your mid laner over on the 3rd wave, and then say, hey guys, let's dive these 2 enchantresses. And then what can Sona and Seraphine do under tower? They, outside of the double root from Seraphine, there's no real CC that can stop and hold them or prevent them from dying super early, and they're relatively squishy. So I don't know if we're going to see that combo from Enemy this time around. It might be something a little bit more standard to fight against Tribe, who they're just so well known for wanting to pick fights in the mid game and even in the early game as well here.
Yeah, and speaking of early game, one of those bullies is that Renekton that was banned out by Tribe. Another bully going to be allowed for Chuck, however. I mean, his pool of top lane bullies is extensive at this point. He's going to be picking up Darius first, blinding it into whatever Enemy tries to go for. There is no Camille to go up against him, so we'll have to see what they do decide to go for Aloe. But they are going to pick up the bottom lane first, so another heavy CC, heavy utility composition in the Nami and the Ashe. Very excited to see what this is going to do here for Enemy. I don't expect that we're going to see a mid lane Nami here today. An AP Fish could be fun. I don't expect it though, as we get to see whether or not they are able to make it happen. But I also want to point out, Enemy's other 2 bans, it's going to be the Camille and the Olaf. So T-Tiger is going to be a little bit targeted here, but he does still have the Xin Zhao that he could potentially go for. He could potentially pull out maybe a Wukong. Probably not going to be something like a Pantheon or anything like that, but it is on the table. When you're talking about Tribe Gaming, I mean, they are some of the best, but still looking at these drafts, I mean, both these teams looking like they're taking their time here in this one.
I'm thinking, they just got to make sure that what they lock in is going to set them on the best foot forward. Because Tribe Gaming and Enemy, they have a lot of respect for each other, and they have a lot of history with each other. Because I don't know if you're familiar with some of these players' competitive histories, not just in Wild Rift, but in former titles. There's a lot of former teammates here between Dienzio and T-Tigers and Max Green being former world champions from Vainglory back in 2017. Now, I was thinking that T-Tigers was going to bust out the Lee Sin today because during the third major, a lot of Lee Sin popped up between Yikes, between Sheesh, even Tarzan pulled out a few Lee Sin games as well, and everyone was trying to vie for the best Lee Sin in NA, but I think this is one of the only time... No, wait. Yo, is this Tybes Riven? Please tell me it's Tybes. Dude, I think we're getting Tybes Riven, bro. Oh my god.
Oh, man. I'm so pumped. This is a match. Welcome to Game 1, Rafa. Enemy and Tribe. Enemy again splashing with the fun here. Riven is phenomenal in the hands of Tybe, and I'm assuming that it is going to be the Riven jungle. Grog is going to most likely be in the top lane, so they are going to be able to go for the counter mid lane pick. That would make sense to me. Man, and up against Lee Sin too. Oh, this is going to be a big matchup here in the jungle. And we're not even talking about the Ziggs that was picked up. I mean, Old School could potentially play that. It could potentially go towards starting. But I'm so excited for Riven. I mean, the Blade of the Exile is just too fun and so much potential. A very high skill cap, though, and it's going to have to go up against some of the higher tiered players in Wild Rift. Enemy does have a lot of work to be able to make this effective here in this game. Okay. We get the Braum and the Lucian as well, so starting is going to be going towards the mid lane. I like the Braum pick, especially when you're going up against a Nami and an Ashe. Could potentially avoid those projectiles with Unbreakable, so definitely a good choice there. And then Lucian, I mean, Lucian's just phenomenal. Lucian's fantastic, especially in the hands of Old School. Really fun to see. Enemy, though, Dienzio playing the... Or, what? What? We got the Kaisa here. I had to take a double take. I did a double take for a second there, Rafa.
Okay, so there's a couple options here. This could be a mid lane Kaisa, or like a mid lane marksman. So, I would imagine that Kaisa would be the better option here, because Kaisa can contest for early wave push super early on thanks to Kathy and Rain, whereas Ashe, if you put Ashe mid lane, that feels kind of grief because you can't really, you don't get that much benefit from having a champion that has a global ultimate in the mid lane, because you can always shoot arrows from downtown, and you don't really assist that much in early skirmishes because you don't have that much damage. You have slows off of your auto attacks and your volley, but I feel like Kai'Sa's a better skirmisher if you're just looking to fight. The other option, and this is probably a bit of a stretch, but Enemy are sending a marksman into the Baron lane, and they're putting Gragas in the mid lane instead, just to bully Darius. But I don't really believe that would be the case. I'm just trying to figure out, as much as you are, Moose, what the hell is going on. I will say, keep an eye out if Tribe actually end up sending Lucian to the mid lane, and they send the Ziggs towards the bottom lane, because starting not only is a proficient Lucian player, but also having the Lucian in the mid lane versus the Ziggs gives you better skirmishing potential. You can fight over you have a stronger top half of the map because you're basically having 3 AD champions in Darius, Lee Sin, and Lucian, and they should be able to win a handful of the skirmishes that you would want to look for, whether it's that top Scuttle Crab or for the first Rift Herald.
So, that brings up an amazing point. And I was thinking maybe that is going to be the 5-head play coming in from Tribe is, hey, we're going to put the Ziggs in the bottom lane. We'll put the Lucian in the mid lane. And then Enemy says, I'll raise you a double marksman here. So we have no idea where we're going. And it could be anything at this point with Enemy. I mean, we saw Orianna coming out from D'Enzio. We could be seeing something like that happen here today where we get a different setup that we don't even expect coming in here for game number 1. I mean, talking with D'Enzio a little bit before the matching, Enemy was saying, hey, we want to be able to come in, or for Enemy, D'Enzio was saying, hey, we want to come into this one, we want to have fun, maybe we want to try some new things out, but we don't want to show our hand. We don't want to say, hey, these are all the things that we've been practicing here for regionals. And so maybe this is an opportunity for them to test something out. Maybe they're trying to say, hey, can we actually pull off a double marksman composition? Can we pull off this Riven in the jungle? How is it going to fare up against this Lee Sin and against Tribe in general? And what improvements can be there from it? As for Tribe, I mean, this is really a nice setup coming in that they've got. They've got everything that you could ever ask for in a composition, and now it's all about being able to pull it off. But this is what we expected coming in from Tribe and from Enemy. Really fun, really entertaining matchups, and game 1 is starting off as a potential banger here today in this final series.
I mean, there's so many questions that I would like answered as soon as we get into the game, because I still need to see if this is going to be, if it's going to be a Kai'Sa in the mid lane, or an Ashe in the mid lane, or if they're actually crazy enough to send a marksman into the Baron lane. But I'm just going to go with my best hunch that Truth is playing Kai'Sa mid lane, and the matchup against the Lucian, and that because I imagine that their assumption or play is that Tribe want to have the Lucian in the mid lane, but let's just assume that's the case. How does the early game play out? Now, Lee Sin has the benefit of being a strong champion even as early as level 1, because Sonic Wave, you can always take the Resonating Strike and you can threaten to constantly poke out, but it's, the level 2 Lee Sin power spike between Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, and then Safeguard Iron Will, you have more mobility than any other champion in the game. You can pick and choose your battles when and wherever you want. Riven, you'll have access to Broken Wings and Valor, which means that you have decent CC and you have some decent mobility, but you don't have access to all 3. You don't have access to the Key Burst stun as well, which means that Riven can scrap, but is not necessarily as enthused because she's more reliant on auto attacks as well, weaving in her Broken Wings and abilities to get the Runic Blade passive off in those trades. Whereas Lee Sin, I mean, you have execute damage on your Resonating Strike, so that's one of the things you got to be careful about. But if you get to level 5, Blade of the Exile does a lot for you. We are getting word that we're experiencing some technical difficulties on the player side. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We're going to try to get out of it ASAP once the players are able to resolve the technical issues. Until then, stick around. We'll be right back.
Figure out what feels all about, so she put it aside all night, all day, and everybody talked about her. Said there must be something wrong with this girl. All she said to them was, live your life just like you're young again. No, don't you cry, just get back up again. 'Cause if you wanna laugh, then live it better. If you want love, then stay together. If you wanna smile, then be forever. And nobody
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, we did not have to run the entire timer because the players have resolved their issues, and we're getting into game. The picks are loading through right now, so we should be loading onto the Wild Rift in just a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. I actually, during that break time, I messaged Todd, and I was just like, yo, you been practicing Riven, bro? And he said, yes, sir. So, okay, it's confirmed. Riven jungle, baby. No bamboozle. We're not getting some weird, Kaisa jungle. We're not getting Gragas jungle either. It is going to be the Riven jungle. Now, when I was playing some games with Tybe, and I asked him, dude, what do you think of Riven jungle? And he's like, oh, Riven jungle seems cool, but, seems difficult. I'm like, okay, you've been playing? And he's like, not yet. So I don't know if he was lying to me or if he was just trying to keep things under wraps, which I can understand and respect. But this is going to be Tybe's first Riven game. This has been a champion that in the jungle role has been popularized and used to great success over in the eastern regions. Mainly. Oh no. Well, that is disaster for enemy. But Tribe Gaming pick up first blood here, Moose.
Oh man, yeah, that's unfortunate there. Truth going the wrong way and getting caught out in that one, but that also does confirm where everyone is going. It is Selmonte Enzio playing as the Nami Ashe in the bottom lane. In the Dragon lane, Chuck taking a lot of damage here as Truth is in the top lane now. Looking to be able to potentially secure this kill on to Chuck. We are going to be able to get away from that extra damage and resources expended for no avail. Chuck survives that one and takes 3 summoner spells along with him.
In the jungle role has been so popularized and used to great success, able to wait until the very last second. He popped the barrier, almost baiting in Truth. Now, Truth was able to dodge out of the Decimate, the outer part of the blade, just thanks to movement speed, but, Chuck is able to maintain his life, burned both of Truth's summoner spells, and, funny enough, Moose, I actually did not expect that we would get the darkest timeline, which is where, Truth is playing Kaisa, but he's actually playing Baron lane Kaisa. We have a mid lane Gragas from Malui to match up against Lucian mid. So, I can't believe we actually almost just called everything as a nice Sonic Wave resonating strike from T-Tigers. Not going to be enough damage as Chuck. Remember, no summoners to follow up on this kill.
Nicely done coming in from Truth to be able to get away from that one, barely being able to survive. But like you said, I mean, this is a very interesting timeline that we're living in, Rafa. Truth going into the top lane against the Darius. I mean, it is going to be a melee against a range, but it doesn't matter when you are just magnetized towards those resonating strikes. Sonic Wave is going to hit, resonating strike will land, and that's going to be Truth going down yet again. Not being the Truth right now in the early game here in the top lane.
A cute little dash from T-Tigers with the safeguard first baits out a little sidestep from Truth before he actually sends in the resonating strike. Just in the mind of Truth right now. 2 deaths on him in the early game. Doesn't mean that Truth is down and out as... Tybe is here. Level 5. Blade of the Exile popped. Key burst is there. Broken Wings slashing and dancing through the back line. Old School is going to be able to survive if Tybe cannot get in with the Blade of the Exile. Does not kill him as, thankfully, Honey Fruit is pretty delicious and it helps with HP regen.
Yes, it is vegan, it is keto friendly, and it helps out. Truth, though, nicely done. Going to be able to take that kill on to Starting, who did decide to go up into the top lane there. With the Darius going into the mid lane. We do get an Enchanted Crystal Arrow getting hit into the bottom lane. It is going to be a little bit of damage coming in from Tybe, but will not be enough. Will end up going down. Chuck in the mid lane will go and be able to escape. So, we didn't get the full shenanigans. No crazy major changes in terms of what we were expecting here, Rafa. We are getting some bamboozling and some shenanigans in the actual game with lane swaps galore before the 4-minute mark.
Truth had an opportunity to jump on top of Starting with the Killer Instinct, and it looks like Starting just wasn't expecting it or was ready for the play. And despite dying twice, Truth is still showing that he has the resolve to take plays and has the damage to back it up. Enemy just equalizing things for the most part as Tribe Gaming have been able to answer back. But so far, the The scariest member on the Rift is for sure T-Tigers, and starting as both of them have completed their first items, Yumu's Ghost Blade and Blade of the Ruined King respectively. T-Tigers at this point in the game, you don't want to mess with him, but Enemy are opting into an objective trade. They're going to go for the first Dragon Secure, whereas Tribe Gaming looking for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and that was actually a decision that Tribe Gaming decided to go for. They said, hey, we do not want to go in for that fight. If they end up making a mistake there and messing that one up, they could lose a lot of their potential there and decide to go for the Rift Herald and the extra gold that they get from the tower. That Sheldon's going to be able to come through. So they will be able to take first tower of the game. The Crystal Arrow does not land, and first turret will come through. Aloe going to be there, but not going to be much of a threat right now, only with that Sunfire Aegis.
Yo. Man, T-Tigers just yoinked at that cannon, he smote it, and then he hit it with a Sonic Wave. If I'm Chuck and I'm in a solo queue game, I know they're probably friends, and maybe they communicate, hey, can I take this cannon? Chuck is like, I guess, you know, but man, why'd you gotta do your Baron laner dirty like that? Come on, bro.
Oh man, I didn't even notice that. You know, that's the good jungler in me. I never take my laner's minions, never ever, and especially not with Smite /S, as they would say in the Reddit or in the Discord. Regardless of that, the extra little bit of gold that the Lee Sin was able to get, gonna be able to pick up those plated steel caps out of that one. So, you know, going to be able to be an extra fast, extra movement, and does give starting the red buff, though. So he does at least share, and sharing is caring here on the Wild Rift.
A lot of completed boots here for Tribe Gaming. Almost everyone has tier 2 boots, and even Max Green has the first boot enchantment of the game, only matched by Selma, who has rushed the redemption for themselves. But apart from Dienzio, no one else on Enemy have boots of their own. Everyone is trying to keep up in terms of item completions. A Black Cleaver has been secured by Tybe, Sunfire Cave for Louis respectively, and Monamune is stacking up for Dienzio. But still waiting on a item from Truth, because, you know, as the way that this Kai'Sa rolls, is actually trying to maximize all three evolutions, Dirk, Blasting Wand, and Amplifying Tome, alongside the BF Sword. Okay, so here's something, Moose. Dienzio actually did a video earlier on YouTube about, you know, can you actually get all three evolutions on Kai'Sa and make it still strong, and running AP Kai'Sa. Now, I don't know what this Blasting Wand is going to build into, but I remember that he was able to get a couple of AP item completions, because you're supposed to get 100, but I didn't realize we're going to get a limit test of it in this game here.
So, now, correct me if I'm wrong, is Nashor's Tooth the pulled in? Are we getting a Nashor's Tooth here? Truth is going to take down Lucian and that as well, so we might be able to see what that comes in with. Maybe going in for some attack speed AP with that, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. You know what? We get to find out together, Rafa, as we do get a turret going down as well for Truth. We'll end up getting actually a kill. Dienzio will take a kill, but it is going to be Tigers, and starting now down as we get a fight now in the mid lane. The Glacial Fissure is going to land onto Selma. So across the Rift, we've got a lot of action, but at the end of the day, it is a 2-for-2. Oh, okay, so it's the Luden's Tempest coming in for the Kai'Sa here. That's what it is.
So, I think in his video, I'm trying to see if I can remember without looking it up, although I might have to do it after the break. But I saw a Luden's into a Death Cap, but he still has the BF Sword and Serrated Dirk, so he has the evolved Decaphian Rain, but I wonder if with the Luden's alone, or if he needs to build another AP component, that he can have enough AP to have the Evolved Voidseeker now. But we have a huge fight in this Dragon Pit. They've already traded one onto Selma thanks to that Mega Inferno Bomb, but the rest of the fight is coming in. Tybe is pushing through thanks to the Broken Wings. Lid of the Exile is not quite up yet, though, and now is low on cooldowns. T-Tigers pushing forward on the assault, starting, also following up with reinforcements, and it's Tribe who come out on top in the exchange.
Well, we got to be careful about this. Kai'Sa Truth is still alive. It is a 4 for 3 in that one. A very bloody exchange that Tribe Gaming barely is able to come out on top of. We're taking the Dragon as well, so they definitely do win out on that fight. But remember, Truth again, now on a rampage, being able to pick up another kill there. Is the richest man on enemy's side, going to be the richest man on the Rift as well here. Rafa has been very influential in this early game. 12 seconds left until the Baron spawns. I want to point out, I guess, the vision here. A little bit of vision coming through, especially coming in from Tribe in that river. They've kept it going, and now D'Enzio going to be potentially going in for a kill onto Old School. Nicely defended by Max Green, so the disengage comes in.
Enemy were a little bit on the fence on whether they wanted to engage right in front of Brahm's face there. You know, Max Green is a friendly person, but he's not too friendly when he is playing the Braum because he will do whatever he can to defend his allies from taking a blow. Enemy still on the offensive, slightly down about 2k gold, but in the grand scope of things, there are a composition that will be able to scale extremely well into the mid-late game as Riven just becomes more and more annoying to deal with and slippery. Something that almost rivals that of a Lee Sin, because Riven, you have to spam multiple cooldowns once you have access to all of these abilities thanks to all the ability haste from Black Cleaver and Death Stance. A Crystal Enchanted Arrow came in through D'Enzio, did not lock down anyone. T-Tigers was there for the reinforcements, making sure that starting doesn't go down in the 1v1, and we're back to where we started here, Moose, which is the NA RAM.
You know, that's what we like to see here. Tribe Gaming versus Enemy. Just being able to continue to run it down in the mid lane. Old School has made his permanent home here in this mid lane area. No tower in the mid lane down, however, with the top tier 1 tower very close to death going in for Tribe. Tigers and Chuck potentially in a bad situation as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands onto the Darius. Probably the best person that you want that arrow to land onto, with the Sonic Wave not connecting onto Truth. We again get another disengage. Tigers, though, going to be able to land that Sonic Wave onto D'Enzio, but it's going to be to his doom as we get a nice Mega Inferno Bomb. Going to get a lot of damage there. Eloy is going to try to be able to go in as we get a nice Tidal Wave. Chuck is going to get slowed. Old School is now going to be very low as well. It's going to be 3 kills for Enemy. 4 kills for Enemy as Tybe takes down Old School. Starting lives, but barely, as Enemy takes the fight and goes directly towards Baron.
Enemy just won a huge fight in the mid game, and they're going to be able to benefit by taking the Baron off the table as well. And this is going to be one of the huge dominoes that can fall in Enemy's favor to closing out a potential game 1 against Tribe Gaming.
Disengaged. Tigers, though, going to be able to land that Sonic Wave onto D'Enzio, but it's going to be to his doom as we get a nice Mega Inferno Bomb, going to get a lot of damage there. Eloy is going to try to be able to go in as we get a nice Tidal Wave. Chuck is going to get slowed. Old School is now going to be very low, and the Darius in Chuck are going to be taken out of that fight, going to get slowed down and obliterated by the great performance that Enemy was able to come through. That Nami pick coming in clutch in that play. Not only that, but they're also able to take the Baron, and they are continuing to keep the fights going.
Tidal Wave is going to snipe out Old School. You got to dodge it. Oh! Just barely gets out alive. It was on the very, very end portion of the skill shot range. But I don't know if you noticed this. I didn't realize I was going to be right. I'm not even sure if I wanted to be right, but we actually have a death cap completed here for Truth on the Kaisa. I guess AP Kaisa is, you know, something that D'Enzio was able to stumble on with the Dark Tech, made the YouTube video about it, and I guess it's working out because now the rest of Enemy are just pouring through the base. Old School's taking so much chunk damage, he doesn't even get a chance as Truth locks him down with that Killer Instinct. He's got to get out now. He's wrapped up by 3 other members from the rest of Tribe. Stasis pops. It's not going to get him out of life, but he still trades back onto Max Green, even through it. But the rest of Enemy have fallen by the wayside. Selmon was the only person to get out alive, the sole survivor, but they have unlocked a turret within the base of Tribe.
Yeah, so I mean, they do sacrifice 4 of themselves to be able to get that inhibitor turret down. But that was a great engagement coming in from Tribe. I mean, yes, Truth, he overdove for that one. He wanted the kill onto Old School, and he got it with that killer instinct. And then also being able to pull off a second kill onto Max Green as well, to be able to take down 2. Well, he died. Unfortunately, when you are a majority of the damage for enemy, when you are no longer there, the rest of the fight just ends up going towards Tribe. They're able to take down Dienzio pretty quickly. Tribe, with no real assistance out of anyone else, ends up just kind of not really doing much there, and the rest of Tribe is just being able to get all of the bounce back that they need. They do lose the inhibitor tower, which is a little bit of bad news, Bears, but they stave off defeat, and now they're looking to go towards Dragon.
Tribe Gaming have had the advantage when it comes to the dragon stacking so far. Both Cloud and Ocean Dragons were picked up by them successfully. No Mountain Dragon, but it's not the end of the world. The Elder Dragon can still be contested and fought over. However, right now, enemy are the ones that have full possession and control of the outside jungle within Tribe's portion of the map here. And with super minions constantly pouring through the Baron lane, you're always going to have to deal with this pressure on that side of the map. Dragon's not going to be spawning anytime soon, but the Baron is coming up in 8.
Yeah, and so enemy is now definitely looking towards getting that one. I mean, with T-Tigers now way a ways, I don't know if they're going to be even able to contest this one. With Truth in the area, wow! That Void Missile just dealing a lot of damage onto Max Green, and he gets it very quickly as well. We could potentially be seeing a fight here as we do get the Mega Inferno Bomb coming through. A little bit of damage on Green and on Old School. How are we going to be able to get Old School out of that fight as we do get the Tribe take of Baron and end up being able to take down Max Green as well. And Blade of the Exile coming through, taking down Darius before he's able to drop the Noxian Guillotine. That is the 3rd kill. Starting will go down. Tide popping off, and enemy take down 3, make it 4 with the sniper shot coming through from Truth. Tigers is the only member of Tribe alive, but it's looking like enemy is going towards the base and wanting to take game 1.
They got it, Moose. I mean, enemy are going to be able to take the first game off of Tribe since they lost the grand finals back in the first major in August during the Wild Rift Summoners Series. They didn't get a single game off of enemy during their run through the second major at all. This is huge for enemy. Now, it's not the end of the series. There's time for Tribe to bounce back and to adapt, and now to probably give a little bit more respect to this new enemy that has come in with a resurgence with AP Kaisa and Riven Jungle to top it all off. I mean, when Dienzio told you that we're not going to try to show our hand, I mean, how much more is he showing? Because this is kind of a lot right now, and if this is not showing the full hand, I don't know if I want to see what else is in store.
I mean, this was like, this doesn't even seem like this is an ace in a hole. This seems like the 10 of this royal flush that enemy has been practicing towards. I mean, they have been putting in work. You know, when talking to Dienzio, he said, you know, one of his favorite moments with this team, he is the newest member of this enemy squad. He said his best moment, his favorite moment, was being able to take those victories against Tribe, and he is looking to be able to go back and have that same level and get those same wins again and reinvigorate enemy here in this tournament. And I mean, that was a beautiful game, number 1. Tides Riven, we didn't really get to talk about it that much because Truth was popping off. I mean, he definitely was the Truth in that one. Yes, he gave up first blood. Yes, he dies second as well, but then he bounces back. He brings on the pressure. He gets that Luden's Tempest and into the Rabadons, like you said. And I mean, those Void Missiles were chunking Max Green. Like, that was a quarter of his HP, if not more, at that near that end game. And that's just mean. That's deadly. And they're going to be able to take that into a game 1 victory.
You know what I'm going to do right now, Moose, while we're waiting for the second draft? Not only we can throw it to the bracket graphic just to show you where we are currently in this series for those, just to get a glimpse of the journey here. But like, Enemy taking the first game off Tribe Gaming. This is a best of 3. So Tribe Gaming, their backs are against the wall. This is Enemy are now in a position where not only they're going to be taking the 1,000 in just one more victory, but this is also a reality where Enemy can potentially be the first team in NA to successfully take a full series off of Tribe Gaming.
This is massive, and I mean, you cannot highlight it enough. With Enemy being able to take game number 1 and this being a best of 3 series, there's just not a lot of room left. It is now do or die for Tribe. Anything that they wanted to bring out here, any opportunities that they wanted to be able to limit test, if they want to be able to win this tournament, it's kind of like, if we're taking a limit test, we're taking the risk that we lose the game. We lose this matchup, we lose this tournament, and we go home with nothing. And Enemy is able to take that victory coming through. But Enemy, I mean, they played so comfortably there. They didn't let those early kills put them into a bad position. And they took everything that Tribe Game was trying to go for in stride. They predicted the Lucian mid with Old School going bottom lane, and they pull out the Kai'Sa and the Ashe, and they pull out the Riven as well. I mean, they are able to perform exceptional, not only in the draft, but then in the game itself. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, that was a very close game. That could have gone either way. Truth popped off, and I don't know if Tribe was expecting that level of pressure coming in from the Kai'Sa. Now, game number 2, are we going to get a Kai'Sa ban? Is there going to end up being even a Kai'Sa available because of what we were able to get into the draft? And we are already now going into game 2. Renekton and Malphite are the first 2 bans coming in from Tribe. Enemy still has 2 bans themselves. They're going to pick up the Vars, or take out the Vars and the Camille. What does Tribe decide to go for this last ban? Do they take out the Kai'Sa, or do they take it themselves and maybe try it out themselves here in this game 2? I'm very excited to find out.
So, I did some research, Moose, and I wanted to bring up some numbers here, just
Numbers.
for
I like numbers.
Now, obviously, the smarter homies in the chat that probably are Pepe laughing about, haha, they didn't know about the Kai'Sa AP tech. Pepe left, right? But you know what?
W.
We're not familiar with the dark tech. We're not on the dark web here, researching this kind of stuff until now. So, Void Seeker requires 80 AP to get it fully evolved. So you can actually get it off of the purchase of Luden's, just Luden's alone. Because Luden's, I think, gives you now 90 AP. It used to be 80, but now it's 90. So you get the fully evolved Void Seeker. So when that happens, everyone knows you get 3 stacks and you refund 70% of your cooldown on champion hits. So it becomes a constant, reliable poke ability every time you land it on a champion. The fact that it also does 3 stacks in versus 2 means that if you hit it twice in a row on a champion, not only you're getting a huge chunk of damage, base damage being 120 at max rank, plus the completed plasma stacks, which both the Void Seeker has a 70% AP scaling plus 130% AD scaling, dealing magic damage. Then you also have the Caustic Wounds completion upon all the 5 plasma stacks, which also scales with a little bit of AP and does, bonus magic damage based on missing health. But the Acathian Rain also scales with AP, but it does physical damage while also scaling with bonus AD. So the AP and the AD are combining hand in hand to really just give and make Kai'Sa a burst assassin. And the bonus AP adds on to her Killer Instinct shield. So it makes it even safer for her to go and dive the backline like a maniac. I mean, this is sick. If you already have a marksman, which they do in the Ashe, then you can pull this off.
Those numbers, that's kind of nasty. That's mean. That's, wow. Okay, so you give one of the highest skilled champions in Wild Rift, and you create a formula for him to, or for her to be even scarier moving into the mid game and into the late game. That is a recipe for success. and Truth was able to pull it off, and we didn't even see D'Enzio play that. It was D'Enzio was the one that made the that kind of like helped discover with that and made the discovery and had that video that you were talking about, but it was Truth that was able to pull it off. That is some really great ability coming in from Enemy. Thank you again. Thank you so much for the numbers, by the way. I mean, that's clutch right there. That is poggers, as the cool kids would say. Being able to figure that out.
A simple Google search can, give you answers to many things. Now, it was cool to see in action. I don't know if it's like this great pick that is now going to be dominating the meta. I mean, it just caught me by surprise, and I'm just like, wow, he's doing a ton of damage, and it's a like kind of a niche poke champion when you build Kai'Sa that way.
Right.
I would have to see it more on stage games before I'm convinced if it's like a strong pick or something. But you know what? Enemy, they took a dub with it. They're now 1-0. So, like, who am I to say whether it's a bad pick or not, right? So, Enemy, they're going to go back, though, to Comfort with the Senna. And they're going to run the Tide Riven again, man. Yeah,
I mean, the Tide Riven, because of how much Kai'Sa was able to pull or pop off in that one, we did get to see Tide kind of weave and wove around some of the potential damage that Tribe was trying to go for, but we didn't really get to see it be highlighted here in this game. And Tribe Gaming, I mean, maybe that also caught them off by surprise as well, how much that was able to go for, but they're picking up some decent picks that could potentially go up against that. When you go for, this AP, this AD sort of, scaling assassin that's able to burst down champions, it takes a little bit of time for them to ramp up. And if you get any sort of CC onto her, I mean, it's GG, it's bad news bears at that point. So they're picking up the TF, which is a great pick coming in for starting. On the other end of that, though, Enemy, we got Pantheon coming through. I'm a huge fan of Pantheon. Not my favorite champion, but a really strong one that could potentially go anywhere at this point, Rafa. Are we going to get to see another Tide jungle again? Rafa, you seem to know. You have the knowledge.
So, with Enemy, they have ran Selma on Pantheon and D'Enzio with the Fasting Senna. So,
gotcha.
When we were looking at I think this was during the first major, where it was one of the first two majors where we were like looking at EU Origin Series and thinking, oh man, a lot of the junglers are picking Pantheon. I wonder if we're gonna get any Pantheon players. And then we had a Pantheon Baron laner in No U, but we didn't really see anyone playing Pantheon in the jungle or playing it anywhere else. And then we got Pantheon support from Selma, but obviously Selma didn't play it like a support. It built damage, and they were taking all the resources, and then Pantheon just becomes another solo laner that you can affect the map and basically match the global threat that Hoon's Twisted, or not Hoon, Starting's Twisted Fate is going to have on the Rift here. And I think the other thing that's really nice about having D'Enzio on support is he's very vocal when it comes to comms. If you put him on Senna, he doesn't have to worry about farming, he doesn't have to worry about CS. He's at will to roam and be more proactive and helping set up plays and being more vocal in these map rotations for Enemy.
Oh no, it's the Orianna coming back. Oh boy, I'm excited to see it. Now Pantheon support into the Senna makes sense. Now, do we potentially get a Pantheon middle to go up against the TF? And do we get another play with D'Enzio playing as that Orianna again into that Senna coming in from Selma? That could be scary as well. Put Gragas in the top lane and then Riven in the jungle. I mean, yet again, Enemy is just pulling stuff out of the hat, and we're guessing they're magicians on the Rift right now.
Could be either or. I mean, we just saw the Orianna bot lane from D'Enzio, so I could be totally wrong, and it's just Selma playing Senna, a double ranged support Dragon Lane combo to run up against the double range in Ashe and Nami, and then maybe they're running Pantheon into the mid lane, which, as a laner, Pantheon does have pretty supple wave clear. and is strong because it is a physical damage fighter. You gotta be careful of the spears. You can clear the backline in 2 casts of it, and you can chunk out your opponent if they're standing in the wave as well. So starting, gotta be careful on this Twisted Fate, and anytime he wants to go for a roam with Destiny, I mean the Grand Starfall is gonna be available just to follow up as well.
And that's I think one great thing that I've been seeing out of Enemy this entire tournament is that they've got so many flexible options that can go anywhere on the Rift. Like for Tribe, I mean, this is a very rigid combination. We know that it's going to be an Ashe, Nami, Dragon lane. We know that it's going to be a TF in the mid lane. We know it's going to be a Lee Sin jungle. We know that it's going to be a Darius Baron lane. With Enemy, we could see so many different deviations, so many different options that that Enemy could go for, that these combinations are almost endless. This is, I think, something that really needs to be noticed here for Enemy moving forward. If they're able to execute on these flexible plays that they're trying to go for, that is a massive level up moving into future tournaments that Tribe Gaming is going to have to adapt to if they want to be able to continue to keep up with that top position. Now let's find out where we're going to be going into this one. Tide is going to be in the jungle. It is a DNZO Selma, so it is a Senna Pantheon bottom lane. Truth is going to be in the mid lane with the Orianna, and then it's going to be a top lane Gragas with a Louis. We get a little bit of ARAM, Rafa. Oh,
we got a lot of action. It's ARAM. They're still trying to trace. They're trying to trace after this, and look at this. I love this. Like, it is so rare to see an NA teams go for super aggro invades level 1, like straight out the get-go. And T Tigers recognizes that, you know what? I have the advantage. I had the 4-man push committed to the wave. I wanted to push Tybe off, ensuring that he doesn't do red buff, and it forces Tybe to start off doing the Raptors first, because in AoE camp, he's going to not only be able to do it more healthily and safely, but also, had he committed to the red buff, there is the potential for T Tigers to force a steal out as well, and that would have just completely crippled Tybe. So this forces Tybe to start clearing towards the top side of the map. He won't be able to contest for the crab on the bottom side of the map, which now gives T Tigers a little bit firm control of this bottom quadrant. And he can optimize and really look to see if he wants to make plays in this Dragon Lane duo, or even do some counter jungling, because he's already cleared out a majority of his camps on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and that's a great play coming in from that ward over in that top Tribe rush as well. He knows that the Riven went for that full clear, potentially went for that top side play. Tigers, he wants the very low play coming in from Selma and from DNZO, but able to dodge the Sonic Wave. Now he has shown his hand. He has used his flash. This is a little bit scarier to try to be able to go for a potential counter jungle. So yet again, you know, try playing a little bit more aggressively, not being able to pull it off that time. Chuck, though, and Eloy, I mean, that's a lot of damage going up against each other, but I want to point out again, the Lee Sin decides to go for the play in the bottom lane, in the Dragon lane. They're not going to be able to get those kills.
Yeah, T Tigers was not able to get any counter jungling off because he invested his time and resources into looking for a capitalization on the dive. Selma and DNZO had taken massive poke and damage from Old School and Max Green. They forced summoner spells out of them. DNZO still retains the heal, but it did buy a lot of time to get not only an experience differential, but also a gold differential for Max Green and Old School, because if you notice, well, DNZO and Selma have now caught up thanks to passive experience gain plus being in lane now, but Old School and Max Green are going to be able to hit level 5 first, and when you're Ashe and Nami and you hit level 5 first and you have access to ultimates, Selma and DNZO cannot play forward up in lane. Otherwise, it's a Crystal Enchanted Arrow into a Tidal Wave follow-up, and you're asking to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so if that's going to be, I think, the big play here is now what does Old School and Max Green do with this little bit of an experience advantage that they get? The window of opportunity to be able to do something is not going to be there for much longer. Selma does have Grand Starfall ready to go. The bubble for the disengage, so they're going to be just fine. But so with that little bit of experience advantage, curious to see if they're able to continue to keep up here. Moving into the 3.5 minute mark, Dragon is about to spawn in about 15 seconds. However, Tiger's going to go back towards the top side of the Rift, going to pick up that blue buff. I don't even know if they're going to try to go for a Rift Herald play here, Rafa. It does look like we are going to see a full reset, though, coming in from the mid lane and the top lane.
Rod of Ages was fully purchased by starting. Ludens completed by Truth. No other full item completions. I take that back. Black Cleaver for Chuck, and then a Redemption Rush for Max Green. So a majority of these players on Tribe are starting to come into the mid game already with these item spikes. They're already trying to set up and reposition to maintain these chokes for the first dragon of the game. Enemy is not necessarily opting into Rift Herald either, but now they've pushed in this mid wave and they're looking to opt into the trade. Tribe Gaming are going to try to rush down this dragon, and Enemy are going to be content taking the Rift Herald in exchange.
Yep, so no further no shenanigans, no team fights just yet. Especially in team comps like this, I think the first major fight that we get to see could be a major driving force in the win for this game. But with 3 members of Enemy now in the top lane, the Redemption's going to come through to be able to go for a little damage. First Blood actually going to land on to Enemy as they're able to get it onto the Lee Sin. A beautiful shockwave into a nice bubble, though, as we get Tribe retaliating in the top side of the Rift. Meanwhile, onto the Dragon side, it is a double kill, or 2 kills for Truth and Selma, being able to take down a bunch of play. Actually, no, not a double kill, just 1 kill. Lee Sin went down to Pantheon. At least the Ashe was able to get that 1 kill, but that is a lot of action very quickly here in this game.
Yeah, Enemy were looking for the Rift Herald potential crash into snowballing that even further. However,
for this game, but with 3 members of Enemy now in the top lane, Redemption's going to come through to be able to go for a little damage. First Blood actually going to land on to Enemy as they're able to get it onto the Lee Sin. A beautiful shockwave into a nice bubble, though, as we get Tribe retaliating in the top side of the Rift.
Was dealing with Selma here. Getting a little bit of love back, and it comes out, helping Tribe come out even further on the play. Enemy slightly behind in gold this time around with the early game opening up. Sonic Wave doesn't land, but the Apprehend will land. Nice shockwave from Truth. It will hold down Chuck and T-Tigers, preventing them from being able to assault further onto Tribe.
And so no kills just yet, but a lot of ultimates expended. Tidal Wave is not available. Shockwave, Blade of the Exile, the big ultimate, not going to be available for Tide. But with D'Enzio and Selma both being able to get their ultimates in just a moment, it is going to be Tribe Gaming being able to take on Tide in the bottom lane. That is going to be a kill against the Riven. On top of that, Tribe was also able to pick up the Dragon, the first Dragon of the game. So definitely things looking a lot better for Tribe as they quickly put the momentum in their favor, up by 6k. Selma, however, with the Dawning Shadow assist, going to be able to take a kill onto Chuck. Tigers will fall as well.
Not bad. Enemy are able to collapse onto T-Tigers, who extends his stay a little farther than you actually should have, but this is a huge gold lead that Tribe Gaming have just exploded because they have successfully taken 3 turrets in quick succession all across the map. And suddenly Tribe Gaming, they've got stocks here, Moose. They are rich. They are ready to literally purchase any car that they want. You want to get a Cadillac, you want to get a Lambo, maybe a Ferrari, or if you want to keep it, classy, go for maybe a Mercedes, or if you want to go for the modern stuff, a Tesla. I mean, Tribe Gaming, they can buy the whole world right now with this gold lead. Now it's not game over. There's still ways for Enemy to come back through this mid and going into the later portions of the game. But right now, massive 2 item completions coming for Old School and starting. Working on Chuck's second item looks like is working towards a GA with that BF sword, or could also be a Stark's Gauge, just to give himself more survivability. I'm curious to see what T-Tigers is working towards, though.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, I'm going to be able to pick up... O2 and 1 right now doesn't really have a lot of gold, is almost the poorest man on the side of Tribe right now. Just with that, Yomo's does pick up the Hourglass, which is a sort of must-have pick that we've seen pretty much every Lee Sin that's been played today go for pretty immediately.
Yeah.
Do finally get to see boots coming in from everybody. We get upgraded Lucidity boots going in for starting. With the Dragon now started by Tigers, we are getting the Crystal Arrow landing onto the Orianna as we do get the Destiny landing. We get a fight up into the top side of this jungle. The Shockwave, though, gonna come through, but it's not gonna be enough to keep the Orianna alive. Truth will fall. And it does look like Tribe will be able to take the Dragon.
Why not? Kick from T-Tigers, trying to look for more. They lock down Tybe. Oh, this is actually massive destruction from Tribe Gaming on enemy. They just wipe out 3 members within a matter of seconds. Baron is not up for another 24, but Tribe Gaming, they are still healthy enough. They will have ultimates coming up in the next minute or so. They're taking this time to fully sweep out the top jungle quadrant, looking for aggressive vision, pushing out these minion waves. They'll get their resets in, and then they can start playing for this Baron. And once this objective is secured, I know I said before that it wasn't quite game over, but the way that Tribe are commanding the map right now and how much access they have to all parts of the jungle quadrants, it is so incredibly hard for enemy to realistically get into these fights, get through these chokeholds without Tribe just immediately pushing the gas and taking them down.
Yet again, the superior play in terms of the macro coming through from Tribe Gaming. Old School has been putting in a lot of work as well with those Enchanted Crystal Arrows, being able to land onto direct hits onto Truth a couple of times, being able to get that kill onto the very powerful mid laner that we are seeing out of Truth. We're going to get another Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's going to land directly onto him yet again, and it's going to be another kill onto Truth. Not having the same game that he had in game 1.
Now, what a shot from Old School. Like, the Crystal Enchanted Arrow was already in the right vicinity, in the right direction, and then giving a little assistance with the Destiny. Oh, this is just dirty. If they actually get it off. Gold card. They had to face check it. They need to be able to get information onto the Baron, but Selmon's going to be the one that pays the price for it. A Dawning Shadow will come ricocheting through the fight, but Tribe Gaming are still strong enough to be able to carry on through the fight, eliminating Tybe through the fray as well.
Wow.
They're going for the re-engage. Flash Bubble from Max Green doesn't catch out anyone, but the rest of Tribe, they're more than happy being able to take the fight as enemy are trying to brute force their way, but you just can't do it against a team that's ahead by 10,000 gold, and they still got the plays, they still got the abilities, and they're just raining destruction across enemy.
And Tiger survives that fight. Again, a beautiful use of that Zonia's Hourglass alteration. And yet again, Old School had another Enchanted Crystal Arrow ready to go. Oh, ends up going a little bit too far forward that time and does get shut down. It feels like that ultimate is just online at all times for Ash, for Old School. Was able to use it at least once in that last team fight, almost got it a second time, but man, you cannot go in for the face check there. You cannot do it, especially when you have that point and click CC into the bubble, into the power that Tribe currently has. It is a 9,000, almost 10,000 gold lead for Tribe Gaming. Baron is still active, but I mean, we're not even talking about Teslas anymore. We're talking about the 15-bedroom mansions on Beverly Hills at this point. Tribe Gaming just continue to keep the pressure up. Another fight.
Tidal Wave comes through. Chuck gets one. Noxian Guillotine reset. Looking for more. Beautiful three-man Decimate cuts through multiple members of enemy. It's not going to be another reset, but T-Tigers will be the one that picks up the killing blow. Selma and Louis fall by the wayside, and that is two of your main frontline members that can safely face check into this jungle here, Moose. Without them, this is Barons for Tribe Gaming.
Oh, man, and Tribe just going to add even further power into their wallet. Destiny is activated, and trying to be able to go for something against Tybe here. won't be able to get anything, but the Dragon is the next play. A minute 50 remaining for this Baron buff. Tigers, oh, he knows he has the power now to go up against this Riven. He's going to be able to take the blue buff and be able to get positioning for this next big fight. I mean, there's nothing that enemy can do. This Riven is just so far behind that Tribe is just able to continue to keep the fights up, but maybe enemy looking for more here.
You know, Tribe was able to get a cheeky steal off of the blue buff, but like you said, there's not much that enemy can do here. Kick just, they just deleted Truth off of a Dragon's Rage into a follow-up spell. I don't even know what that spell was. They're just doing so much damage at this point. They're playing with their food.
Man.
They're dashing in and out. They're picking and choosing the fights whenever they want because Tribe Gaming, they have that power. They're just this far ahead, almost 17,000 before the eventual end of this Game 2. And we're going to a Game 3 in this Grand Finals.
Oh, I love to see it. I love Game 3's Rafa, and it is a phenomenal win for Tribe Gaming here. Game number 2 was never in doubt. Once they were able to get going, they were able to push in and get the advantages and secure themselves an amazing victory here today. And I mean, it must have worked out for Tribe in the bottom lane, being able to make sure that the Ashe and the Na'Vi were able to get ahead against the Pantheon and the Senna. Dienzio and Selma falling behind early on because they had to escape. Tigers did sacrifice a lot to go for that one, but it paid dividends. Old School and Max Green performed exceptionally well. I know that Starting does get MVP. I know that he deserves it because he's 5-0-9, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrows coming in from Old School were phenomenal. He's my MVP here in game number 2.
It's a solid candidate. You know, Tribe Gaming, they saw what enemy brought to the table in game 1. They saw us popping off, getting kind of excited that, oh my goodness, our enemy going to take the first set off of Tribe Gaming? And they're like, I heard you guys were talking mad up on the desks there, you know? And you relax. They got one game. We're going to clean it up. We're going to come back to the drawing board and adapt. And that's exactly what Tribe did. And notice how the level of proactivity changed immediately from the get-go. They didn't even wait until level 2. They didn't wait for camps to spawn. T-Tigers is already in Tybe's face, throwing out Resonating Strikes, coming in with on the follow-up as well for the damage. And just saying, yo, Tybe, if you try to start up red buff, I'm going to threaten to steal that shiz away from you, man. Like, so you can't start red buff. And forcing Tybe into a position where he has to clear towards the top side. It puts T-Tigers and the rest of the bottom side of the map in motion with a plan to chunk out Selma and Dienzio, as you said before, and then put them on the right foot. And from there on, you know, it was that play and then the moment in the mid-game where they just took 3 turrets back-to-back. Sure, they lost T-Tigers and Chuck in the process, but a worthy sacrifice. Their life for ire, as, you know, StarCraft fans would say.
Yeah,
and
there you
suddenly,
go.
6,000 gold lead just out of nowhere. And then from then on, it just, enemy could never catch up.
It was really, I mean, not only that mid-fight, which was pretty important, but then also in the early game, when we saw enemy be able to take that Rift Herald, they went for the trade. Enemy decided to go for the Rift Herald, and then Tribe decided to go for the Dragon. And then enemy goes up to the top side of the Rift. They have the numbers advantage for a moment. The fight looks decent. They get a decent shockwave, but then the rest of Tribe comes through, and they're able to make it. At the end of the day, it was like a 3-for-1. Selma was able to take a kill in the bottom lane, but Old School was able to clean it up and get a 2-for-1 trade there. No one goes down for Tribe in the top lane, and they're just able to pick up those kills, which then just catapults themselves into just such a great position moving into the mid game, where they're able to get that mid game fight. Then they're able to get the 3 turrets. Then they're able to get the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to land onto Truth multiple times in those games, or in the game, in those fights, denying Truth any sort of real ability in the game. cascaded into a symphony of just beauty that Tribe was able to come through, and they have been able to edit up and get themselves win in this tournament and in this round. It is now 1-1, and we get our first and only game number 3. We are now ready to begin it, Rafa, and I am so excited to see how it's going to play out.
I'm curious to see what the ban options from Enemy are going to be, respectively, or even Tribe Gaming. I know Tybe was pretty proud of his Riven performance in Game 1, but Tribe Gaming, you know, and when you have the Lee Sin on your side of the field, you have the agency to start picking fights to put Riven behind, to not let Riven get to the mid game where she just truly excels and becomes a huge menace and disruptor in team fights, thanks to, you know, low ability cooldowns on her abilities. But Tybe didn't get to live that fantasy this time around in Game 2. So I wonder if, in terms of first pick priority, you know, Tribe Gaming have not necessarily prioritized Lee Sin as their number 1 pick, but it's usually their 2 or 3 pick, whereas Enemy pick up Riven on their 2 or 3 pick as well. So I'm curious to see if they want to play Riven again, then I imagine that the Lee Sin has got to go, because the Lee Sin is one of the few champions, maybe it's the only jungler that can stop Riven early on and just really prevent her from being able to get to that point in the game where she takes over.
Lee Sin, definitely, but even then, maybe even Xin Zhao in the right circumstances, maybe that can happen. It's not as it's more of a 50-50 rather than the 70-30. I would say that Lee Sin is able to come through, but definitely on the table for Tribe if Enemy does decide to go for the Riven. But Enemy, they're deciding to ban out that Ashe. That Ashe has been the winning factor for both Enemy and Tribe in the games that they have won here in this series, and so they are not going to let it on the table in game number 3. Pretty consistent bans coming out from Tribe. They are going to take off the Malphite. They are going to take off the Corki. Now the Varus, taking that away. They don't want to let any sort of first pick Varus happen, because that has been something that Dienzio has been able to perform well with. It does leave the Riven on the table. It does leave the Kai'Sa on the table. It does leave the Sona Seraphine on the table. We don't know what Enemy's thinking moving into this one, but they did decide to go for the Renekton and the Olaf ban, so maybe prioritizing some more top lane favoritism here. Let's see what they decide to go for their first pick.
My money is on, I don't know about first pick, but I would like to see if Enemy want to prioritize champions that can skirmish super early on from the get-go. So like you can go for a Riven, but things like Twisted Fate, things that have utility to set up your jungler for success early on, and making sure that they don't have to expend all their mobility cooldowns to lock down a target, is definitely one way to go. Now, the Camille is great for Enemy because it's a flex pick between both Tybe as well as a Louis. So this doesn't reveal everything to Tribe, and it can still give the option to either a Louis or Tybe to get a better matchup for themselves once they see what Tribe locks in.
I mean, for Tribe now, I mean, the Lee Sin is open. I feel like that's probably a decent pickup here. You get the Dragon's Rage to be able to get out of that Hextech Ultimatum if need be. We've already seen Tigers perform exceptionally well with it here. Olaf is banned. I don't think Olaf was potentially the play. But then on top of that, we also get to see potentially what they want to go for the top lane. I think now at this point, they go for the top jungle, or the Baron jungle, pardon me. I need to remember that. Baron jungle, get it together, Moose. Say it correctly. But we'll see what they decide to go for. We could see the Darius again. To be 3 games in a row here for Chuck on the Darius. He's definitely a bully on it. He's definitely performed well. Definitely did really well in game number 2. Those Noxian Guillotines were dealing a ton of damage. But other than that, I mean, we have no idea what Tribe wants to be able to go for just yet. The Camille it is a flex pick, but it also kind of makes it to where you have to be a little bit more careful for Enemy. You don't want to be able to get something that might not be synergistic with them down the line, because that Hextech Ultimatum going to have a lot of potential lockdown for one champion if they do decide to go for it. We did see them play out the Ziggs and the J4, I believe, earlier in the draft. So they could potentially go for something like that again, but their options are still open on the table here. They're going to pick up the Darius, and then it's going to be Max Green's Nami as well. I think the Nami was really good out of Max Green's hands. I'm just surprised that it's a second pick.
Nami has been shown to be one of the best supports for most of the North American scene, at least through the Wild Rift Summoner Series for the past 3 majors. There's not many other champions that can contest not only Nami's lane presence, her sustain, but also her team fighting ability, because in Wild Rift, the map is smaller, the chokes are smaller, and Tidal Wave just looks bigger in comparison. So Tidal Wave is just a larger threat that can actually be a reliable team fight initiation, or even counter initiation, or disengage as well. It's very versatile. Now, enemy can respond with something like a Braum so that you can block the Tidal Wave shield, or, as we previously alluded to, it might be time to put away the Riven, and it's time for Tybe to lock his hands down on the Lee Sin this time around to see if he's the one that he's going to be pushing the pressure and the tempo against Tribe Gaming. And the Xayah being locked in, I mean, Tribe Gaming, unless they pull some funky shenanigans and run Rakan mid lane, enemy are going to be picking up Rakan on the second rotation.
Yep, because Max Green did show that Nami already, Rafa. We know that I doubt we're going to see starting play as the Nami. I mean, I'd love to see it. I'm always optimistic. One of these days we're going to get AP Nami to come through, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. And so you bring up that good point. You know, now that you do show that Nami is there, the Rakan is going to be online. They could pair it with something else as well, because Xayah is usually pretty self-serving. Should be okay. Kai'Sa is going to be the follow-up here, so a nice little pickup coming in from Tribe. I like that bottom lane. Kai'Sa going to be not the safest, but does have that Nami to give that extra little bit of movement speed, could potentially get away from the charm, and then the Twisted Fate, classic from starting. A nice pickup there in the mid lane.
I'm curious to see why Tribe Gaming are holding on to this counter pick for T Tigers. They know that this Lee Sin should be going into the jungle for Tybe, unless they suspect that enemy are on some, Eastern strategies with sending the Lee Sin into a mid lane and then saving another jungler for Tybe instead, which has happened. We've seen solo lane Lee Sin across the globe. There's a Rakan, obviously, that we should have expected once the Xayah came through. Oh,
I love it.
We're actually getting Katarina in Game 3. All right,
nice.
We'll try slam some crowd control, brother. Just something point and click. Is this a Wukong, a Xin Zhao angle?
Well, I mean, you already pick the Katarina into the TF and into the Nami bubble as well, and into a Darius that does have ways to interrupt you as well. This is, I feel like, a little bit of a stretch coming in from enemy. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, I like it. Bye. Coming through. You get everything that you want out of it. You're able to go in. You're able to get that point and click CC. And then also maybe a little bit of assistance with that Vault Breaker as well. I love to see it coming in from Tribe. I'm excited to see what Tiger's going to bring to the table here. But I'm very excited to see what enemy is going to be able to do with this. Truth has done some exceptional work with the Katarina before. We've seen enemy win games with the Katarina, with the great use of that ultimate here. And not only that, he gets the charm out of the Rakan to be able to get everyone grouped together, get that multi-man ultimate, and get those resets that are going to be so necessary for enemy to be successful in this composition. I'm just, you're keeping it up with a Camille and with a Lee Sin. I'm not convinced yet that the synergy is going to be there until we actually get into the game and we make it happen.
So, to be fair, Truth Katarina is kind of sick. It's probably one of the only Katarinas where I would say that it's on the same level as Molly Uwu's Katarina. And, like, Molly picks Katarina into almost any situation, and we have seen that person, like, actually able to 1v9 and come out in games where there was tons of crowd control available. However, none of it was ever Vi. And Vi is so painful to actually deal with if you are someone like Katarina, because if you preemptively use Death Lotus, T-Tigers immediately is going to say, all right, Assault and Battery, boom, point and click, lockdown, Vault Breaker, Gold Card, lock through, like, and then Truth just does not get to play the game, doesn't get to play these team fights. But when we look at the grand scheme of things, you have other things to keep an eye out for. So, Enemy, the goal here is not necessarily to snowball the Katarina, it's to ensure that multiple parts of the map is also strong. If a Louis is strong, then T-Tigers can't just hold on to their crowd control to lock down the Katarina, because then the Camille is just going to destroy Old School in the backline. And the same thing with Dienzio or Tybe on this roster. So Enemy has to play, has to have greater execution in this game around and make sure that they're the ones snowballing this time around.
And that's going to be the big question here is, you know, what are they going to be able to do? Are they going to be able to make it happen? Chuck is going to be chunked down, but he is going to push the lane up a little bit before he goes back. Meanwhile, Louis actually not going to take that back, so could potentially be in a scary situation here. I don't expect to see Chuck going in for the dive. Meanwhile, though, Enemy being able to pick up that Rift, or that Rift Tail, that Scuttle Crab in the bottom river. Definitely a nice play there, especially since we did get to see the pathing from Tigers go down bottom side. It's a double Scuttle play coming in from Enemy.
Nicely done. I mean, this doesn't give them a huge gold lead per se, but it gives them optimal vision control. T-Tigers feels pretty bad that both Scuttle Crabs are not available. Tries to go in to steal some Krugs away, but Selma and Dienzio maintaining full control of this Dragon Lane duo, pushing out T-Tigers. He's going to look for a reset. So far, the only person that has gone in for a reset on the side of Enemy is a Louis. Has picked up the Sheen. Is going to make those trades even stronger on their side. That level 1 all-in early on that we saw forced a Louis' barrier, but now T-Tigers is on this side of the map. Barrier should be coming up by the time T-Tigers gets to level 5, but they could make a play on this top side of the map here, Boos.
I mean, that's really big for Enemy. I mean, not only did the Lee Sin pick up both Scuttle Crabs, but he was able to back later as well and really didn't get punished for it. Tigers didn't go in for a potential gank on it to Louis. Louis stayed pretty safe. He's able to go back, picks up boots, and picks up that chain vest as well. Meanwhile, it's just a BF sword pickup for Tigers. So that's something that Enemy is going to be playing towards as we get to see these big neutral objectives spawning here momentarily. A little bit of extra resistances for the Lee Sin could potentially mean the difference between him living and dying if he does not go back before these neutral objectives spawn. Meanwhile, though, in the bottom lane, though, First Blood going to land Dienzio on the Xayah, making some sushi here and picking up First Blood.
That's huge for Enemy. That's the power of Zion Rakan being able to get the advantageous 2v2. Now we're going to have another fight onto the Baron side of the map. Tybe flashing in for the Dragon's Rage, but you cannot disrespect the global power of Starting's Twisted Fate, who can join the fight in an instant. And just in one moment, Enemy, they're ahead, and then the lead is taken right back by Tribe.
Yeah, that was such a ambitious play. I mean, had they been able to take down Chuck before Starting was able to get there with the Destiny, it might have been a different story. Had Tigers been on the bottom side, it would have been a 2v2. That might have been a different story. But now you just give so much pressure back over to Tribe. You lose all of that momentum that you were able to build up. You give a little bit more pressure on the map over to Tribe. They're going to be going for potentially another play here in the mid lane. Old School going to get rooted, but no follow-up there, unfortunately. We did get a pretty nice Death Blossom coming in from Truth, but no one going down, and now the play might be over at the Dragon Pit.
Tribe Gaming are going to have advantageous positioning over this objective. Enemy is starting to fall in. They pulled out the Dragon away, so no steal with the Sonic Wave into the Resonating Strike from Tribe. Smite comes down. T-Tigers secures it for Tribe. That's going to be a nice HP shield, but the fighting is not going to stop here because Louis says it's go time. The Hextech Ultimatum already locked down the sushi for breakfast, and Enemy are now still on the hunt here. But Tribe now turning things around thanks to a beautiful Killer Instinct from Old School, and the rest of the members of Enemy are on the run. Tribe Gaming still following in hot pursuit. Sonic Wave is still not going to do a damn thing. It's only Truth and Tribe that live to tell the tale, but just as I say that, they're filing in. Truth is going to try to turn things around, but he's got nowhere else to run. Tribe tries to follow up, but it's just a triple that ends up for T-Tigers' victory.
Oh, baby, a triple coming in for T-Tigers on the bye. Going to be able to use an amazing assault and battery there to pick up the kill onto Truth. And that is just disastrous for Enemy. That was a fight that they picked. Aloy takes the Hextech Ultimatum onto Max Green. Yes, you get the kill onto the support, but it's just the support that's going down, and it ends up just giving so much extra power with that ultimate gone. Tribe Gaming taking everything and the kitchen sink on top of that as well. That's an interesting little animation there, but Aloy able to get away. Destiny's going to get popped to see where everyone is at, but the fight is going to continue. The tidal wave is going to land. It's going to be Selma now with a little bit of damage. As we do get a Death Blossom coming through, it's going to be a nice Noxian Guillotine into a nice shove back in. So much damage coming in for that Hextech Ultimatum, and it's going to be Zaya being able to pick up one. Rakan's going to pick up another, and it's a shutdown as we get Tribe picking up another kill. It's 4 for Enemy.
Well, we've got a game. Enemy are able to answer right on back. Tribe Gaming were opting in for the Rift Herald play, but Enemy are able to punish off of what seems like a beautiful tidal wave that started off and kept things nice for Tribe Gaming to be successful in that exchange. But Truth didn't go down in the first pick. Was able to get a massive Death Lotus off and got a lot of damage down before he finally went down. Tribe Gaming now trying to go for the re-engage. They push into this mid lane. Rift Herald is there. Old School, beautiful Killer Instinct clips Truth as he was trying to escape with that Shumpo, but the re-engage from Enemy is looking for a potential opportunity onto Tribe Gaming, but just not enough damage follow-up to stop this Rift Herald from being able to crash into the mid-turret. They're looking for the re-engage right here. Selma with the two-man engage. Dienzio follows up with the beautiful Featherstorm into Blade Calling, and just like that, we're back in it. Enemy are trying to push and pull this game back in their favor.
What a beautiful ultimate coming in from Selma. That is such a play, a huge charm into a great Featherstorm, being able to take down so much health so easily. Tigers gets ripped to shreds. Old School, again, being able to just get that kill onto Truth, but then not being able to follow up with any extra damage. Man, this is incredible. And now we get to look at that replay a little bit earlier in the game. I mean, again, taking a look at maybe what was the worst team fight that we've seen Enemy play so far. The Featherstorm comes through and gets the root onto 2, but it's not going to be the 2 that matter. Now looking at this play as well, that beautiful Death Blossom that you were talking about. Amazing performances coming in from most of those members of the Hextech Ultimatum comes in, and now we look at a fight here on the live feed.
Double bubble. Oh, beautiful stuff, though, from Max Green. It's going to send Louis to the Shadow Realm for sure. Nice tactical shield. Keeps him alive just for that much longer. But now it's the Enzio itself, but they've bought enough time for Truth to come in with the beautiful Death Lotus. That's going to be an answer for Enemy. And I can't believe it. Every single time it seems like Tribe are pulling ahead. They find an advantageous pick. Enemy are able to answer right on back.
Oh, and now Chuck wants more. Max Green is there, but it's not going to be enough. It is going to be the Destiny coming in from the rest of Tribe, trying to be able to get starting some kills. Max Green barely surviving that one. Makes it a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Selma is just, I mean, fearless on this Rakan, putting in massive work here in these team fights.
This game is so close, Moose, and Like, the 15-11 says that Enemy are surely ahead in the lead, but with the goal difference saying only 2,000 under 10 minutes, I mean, this is still anyone's game. Dragon Pit has been started up. Tidal Wave comes through. Tigers is able to secure the Dragon away from themselves, but it's the follow-up, it's the re-engage from Enemy that is really telling the tale of how the game is going, because Alui follows over the wall with that flash, and Chuck has nowhere else to run. It's only T-Tigers and Old School left on the Rift, but Enemy have 5 members strong, and they can do some massive damage right now.
Baron is alive. However, Tigers is available, could potentially go in for a Smite steal. We have seen some good plays and Smite steals before in this tournament. Oh no, the Blast Cone Selma's going to be caught out and will be able to escape just barely there. However, with the Baron now down to about 3,000 HP, starting is trying to be able to come through as we get a little bit of damage now on to T-Tigers. Tigers will die. So much damage. It's going to be blue team being able to take the Nasher. It's Enemy taking down Baron and making it a 1-for-1 with Selma going down. No one else dies. Oh man, I saw the play from Old School. I thought that he actually took Baron there, which kind of freaks me out a little bit. The tidal wave for the disengage, and this game just continues to be highlight after highlight, moving into the 11-minute mark.
Okay, we finally got a chance to breathe here, Moose, for the love of God. Oh my goodness, Enemy just seems like for the past 3 minutes did not want to let off the gas pedal, and rightfully so, because this composition, they just don't want to let go of the lead that they are wresting away from Tribe Gaming. As soon as they took 3 members off the Rift, they knew they had a chance to do a Baron. But normally when you take a 50-50 split against T-Tigers whenever he's on the field, there's so many times the objective seals can happen. And that was something that had shot my anxiety levels up through the roof. But they baited out T-Tigers to come over the Baron pit, took them down, made sure that the Baron was secured for them, and now it's a massive push. Tribe Gaming still have tools to look for picks. We're going to go into this fight now.
Nah, it's going to be that Death Blossom, not going to be knocked up just yet, but Truth does end up dying, and maybe an overextension coming in from Enemy with 3 members now only alive. Aloy and Truth will go down. DNZ was now extremely low. Destiny will get popped, but he is not going to take it to continue the fight. So Enemy, they continue to push the pressure, but this time they go for a little bit overextension, and they end up losing out in that play. Tribe looking to be able to follow up here, Rafa. And this is exactly what I was talking about when Tribe Game was able to take on Cloud9. They know when to push and they know when to fall back. Enemy not doing the same thing and maybe pushing a little bit too forward and gassing themselves out.
Enemy, like you said, we're trying to push for the turret. The Baron buff on their side was the ultimate objective, but they over-index on going for damage and trying to kill members of Tribe. I can imagine that how hyphy the calls could be right now and thinking, oh man, if we just ace them all right here, we could just end the game right here, right now with Baron. But Enemy, calm down, take the game slow. The game is not, the risk tolerance doesn't have to be extremely high for this time, because Enemy are the ones that have a large control of the map right now. They just need to go up and start, like, poking these turrets. This bottom tier turret just needs to be, like, pushed down with a poking stick or, like, a little toothpick at this point. The middle turret just needs one more push to be able to settle in. Enemy can take their time, but they're pushing the tempo lead. This is starting, popping the Destiny, getting eyes on everyone right here. Tybe is technically by himself, but he can always get out if he needs to, and they're pushing them back away from the Ocean Dragon.
This is going to be potentially a big neutral objective here for both Tribe and Enemy. Tribe does have 2 dragons already, and so they might be looking to go for another one. With Baron spawning in 9 seconds, that is also on the table as well. Vi's going to be the target. He's going to get rooted, but we are going to get a little bit of damage on to a lot of what Zai was going to try to go for. It is going to be Old School going down, however. Max Green is going to die as Truth gets the resets. It's going to be 3. They're looking for 4, and they get 4. It's a triple kill for Truth, and everyone except for Tigers survives. Aloy's able to get out of that one, and now Enemy looking to potentially crack the base and maybe win this game.
22 seconds means that this could be their last push to go for the base. If they take out Team Tigers, that's gonna be
my
it!
God!
Enemy! They've done it, moves! For the first time in NA history, Enemy will be the first team to take a series off of Tribe Gaming!
I can't believe it, and it's off of a Truth triple kill. Enemy taking on Tribe in a best of 3 and barely eking out a win. 2-1 was the final set score. Oh man, you thought maybe they would go for the Dragon. You thought maybe they would go for the Baron. No, their play was going towards mid lane, going towards the fight. Once Old School was dead, Truth said, I got this, fam, and just obliterated the rest of Tribe Gaming. What a play, what a series, what a finish, and what a win taking this game and taking this series.
I'm at a loss for words. I'm so amazed by this game 3 victory. Obviously, the first game that Enemy pulled out was pretty lit. But then when Tribe Gaming answered back in game 2, I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? This is probably what I expected. But I have to give massive props to D'Enzio and Selma, their Dragon Lane duo, them being able to exert so much pressure onto Max Green and Old School this game literally felt like the difference maker this time around. It is so hard to crack a Nami lane in almost any lane setup because the amount of poke that she has, the amount of healing and sustain she has, the crowd control that's available to her as well. I mean, that's so hard to crack, but the Enzio and Selma, the Zyricon, the Lovers duo, the synergy that comes in through, I mean, they had a fantastic game. They had a fantastic laning phase, the way that they played around team fights, the re-engages, and the confidence. I mean, I think that was what surprised me the most is even in fights where Tribe had the numbers advantages after a primary skirmish, it's the confidence from D'Enzio and Selma to say, no, we can take the follow-up fight. We can go for the secondary re-engage. And they go for it, and it's just like how? How do you guys have the vision for that play? But they do, and they're the ones that come out with the victory here.
It was an incredible series, but it was an incredible game as well, but I have to go back to the draft, and I have to wonder, the second pick, with Max Green picking up that Nami second pick, and then again moving back into it as well, with allowing that Lee Sin to be put into the hands of Tybe in that second round draft, you do end up getting the Vi to be able to counter the Katarina, but, I mean, let's be real, Vi is not the major pick that, you know, a team wants. That was a reactionary pick that they had to go for to try to be able to go for that potential CC that really didn't work out. I feel like Enemy they drafted better in that play. They got a Camille and Lee Sin both on the same team, and they just were able to use it exceptionally well. Not only that, they get the Zyricon on top of that. Enemy got everything that they wanted. Tribe, they reacted throughout most of the draft to what Enemy was going for, and they still weren't able to lock down Truth in the major team fights, in the big plays, in the end of the game that was allowing for Enemy to be able to get that massive damage. And then on top of that, I mean, like we're talking about in the bottom lane, Selma, fearless with those initiations, with the counter initiations as well, getting those charms into the Featherstorms, into the Roots, really only having one bad team fight, and that was that very early dragon fight, or that they had near the dragon pit. Everything else just going perfectly for Enemy. It just works out in their favor. They're able to make it happen. They're able to win game 3. And they take this tournament and the $1,000 grand prize that goes with it. Nothing going towards Tribe. So really nicely done coming in from Enemy.
Yeah, Enemy definitely the better performing team today. I don't think we should take anything away from Tribe off of the drafting phase, because literally the execution was what really set the bar and the difference here from in the game. Now,
Okay.
you know, looking back on it, I think it's easier to look and see, like, draft, like hindsight is 2020. I don't really have as much of a problem with it because I see the idea, but, you know, that Truths wasn't the reason why the game was problematic. Truth got to exist because of how much work Dienzio and Selma created space for the composition in the draft. So, I mean, this is really a full-on team effort that came in from Enemy, which makes it even such a sweeter victory for Enemy this time around, and being the first Enemy team that has taken down Tribe. Now, Regional Championships is going to come up. Tribe may be going back to the drawing board and saying, you know what, we need to make sure that Enemy don't take our crown in representing NA at Worlds, but for the rest of the audience at home, let's take one last look at the bracket. The last look at the journey that we took to get here. When we came together at the beginning of the day, Moose and I were pretty set on Tribe Gaming being the favorites to win this tournament. We knew that Enemy had taken games off of Tribe before, but based on, you know, the second major results, it's like, all right, well, let's get a taste to see what Enemy had been working on. To say that we were ready or expecting an Enemy upset is definitely not the case. You know, we don't want to take anything from Enemy, but that, you know, that was the truth, and that just means even more props to Enemy. Really, I am so proud to see these guys rise to the occasion and take down the former kings of NA, because now Regional Championships is going to have even a lot more on the line for both teams.
Oh yeah, I mean, not only does Enemy take on probably and arguably the best team in the NA region, maybe the best team in the world in Tribe Gaming here in Wild Rift, but they're able to do it with some really, you know, some out-of-the-box play in game number 1, and they're able to bounce back and have a really phenomenal team effort in game number 3. And I want to point out again, Rafa, you said it correctly. You said it at the very beginning of game number 3 that it's going to have to be a team effort from Enemy if they want to be able to win this game. And you felt it. You felt the team effort coming through. You felt the excitement about Enemy when they were able to get those big advantages, when they were able to get the fights in their favor. They wanted to push it forward. They wanted to keep it up. And, you know, it just showed in their play that they were having fun, and they were having fun taking out Tribe as well. On the other side of that token, yes, Tribe does fall short, but you cannot take away the fact that they did still take a game off of Enemy, and they made it a very close and very fun series between them and Enemy throughout this entire 3-game series. This is an opportunity for them to now go back over to the drawing board and look at some of the tech that Enemy played out today. Look at some of the mistakes that they might have made in games 1 and game 3, and to be able to say, okay, this is where we can improve upon. This is what we can do to move to that next level and continue to take wins. I mean, they have both made some great improvements in the last couple of weeks, and I can't wait to see what the next round of tournament matches is going to bring to the table for these two teams and for the NA scene in general.
Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this Rift Masters Invitational event, be sure to follow at Rift Masters both on Twitter, and check out the Discord, because all the support and the love goes into furthering and creating more opportunities and possibilities for awesome events like this. I am so hyped that this was even a thing to be a part of, because we just got to witness NA Wild Rift history in the making, and we were in the front chairs. So if you want to have more tournaments like this, because the more we pour support into the NA Wild Rift scene, the more that we are planting a foundation so that the Wild Rift scene is here to stay. And the players are here to stay, they're here to compete, and the more support and the more love that goes into the scene means that these players can continue doing their dreams and really putting on such a... Almost dropped an F-bomb there, but really... awesome show for us anytime that they hit the Wild Rift. So again, thank you so much everyone for joining us here on the Rift Masters Invitational. We'll see you next time. Keep your eyes peeled on social media to see for further events. Until then, have a good night.
To see where everyone is at, but the fight is going to continue. The tidal wave is going to land.
Oh, no.
It's going to be Selma now with a little bit of damage. As we do get a Death Blossom coming through, it's going to be a nice Noxian Guillotine into a nice shove back in. So much damage coming in for that Exec Ultimatum, and it's going to be Zaya being able to
crash into the mid turret. They're looking for the re-engage right here. Selma with the two-man engage. Dienzio follows up with a beautiful third up. Tidal Wave comes through. Kyvers is able to secure the dragon away from themselves, but it's the follow-up. It's the re-engage from enemy. Enemy! They've done it, Moose! For the first time in NA history, Enemy will be the first team to take a series off of Tribe Gaming!